I accept that answer.
I got some churn. I got some churn. I got some grandchurn.
Damn.
Oh, you got grandkids?
Mm-hmm.
That means she drink good water. Look at her skin. She drink good water. She drinking that alkaline water.
Well, I smoke crack, and also I was a teen mom, and I'm not ashamed of my past. The question is, I'm 40. I am 40 years old, and I don't know
like
why.
that look off to the left when you did it. Boy, they'll eat your ass up at first 48.
40 years old.
She looking to the left, goddamn. Like,
I'm 40 years old.
Are you 40 or LA 40? Because LA 40 means you're really 52.
Wait, I'm supposed to have an LA age?
Everybody got an LA age. If you say you don't look, some people be like, how old are you? I'm 35. They really be 56. Like, what's your life?
Like, how old do you really think Kirk Franklin is?
Kirk Franklin, 118 years old. Because he's too short to grow and age at the same time, and that anger be pent up.
So wait. So, okay, so your LA age is younger than what your real age is. Like, how much of a difference is it supposed to be?
Depending on what's in your face.
Is what you can pull off. That's what
what you can pull off and what your face look like. Like, if you've been through a lot of shit in the face and it just look like life been stressing you, then you can't take away that many years. But if you look like you good with the Lord and you talk to yourself and you walk on a cloud, maybe about 7 to 10.
Okay, so truthfully honest, and my birth certificate around here somewhere, I am 40. I am actually 40. I was born.
Let me see your hands.
She ain't got the biblical. No, because she ain't got the biblical. She ain't got the biblical.
Your hands look so good.
Yeah, because it's about the hands. That's
You know what I'm saying? You use good lotion.
Women be tricking us. You can tell by the hands. You can't lie.
Hands out here looking like you've been playing 7 games of straight basketball on the court all day.
Hands like good.
So I'm 40, but I've been a worker for a really long time. So I feel older than what I am. Like my oldest is 26 and my youngest is 17. So I've been a mother for over half my life. And but I don't have an LA age, so I need y'all to help me with what that should be, because before we leave Zooming with the homies tonight, I need to know what my LA age should be.
33.
Yeah,
34,
33. You don't be lying.
So, but let's go.
33.
Let's go 30. Let's make Jay Phillips happy. Let's go 33 to 35. Can we give it that range? Can we go to that range? 33 to 35?
I think 33 is
33.
it.
Okay, I'm gonna write it down.
That just sounds made up to me.
33 does?
33 sounds made up.
Why?
Because don't nobody really use their ages in a regular number. It's always a 5 or a 0.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, if you just tapping keys at that point, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's your password? 0000001. Like, 33. Put some mystery into it. Put a 4 or a fucking.
Okay, some people being disrespectful in the comments.
I can't even see them. I mean, the proof is right there in the comments. They'll tell you what your age looks like.
Somebody said Ty Davis is 37. Bet.
37, 33, 34. A good average of all of that shit is what? 35.
Damn! How did the average go up?
I saw somebody say 32.
I see a 37.
Okay, I see Ty's in her 40s. No, motherfucker, I'm 40. Like, I'll be 41 this year, but I got time. But for the remainder of this Zoom, I am 32 years old.
32. Okay.
I like 30. I'm 32 for the rest of this live. Of course, I'm sure I'm going to give that away with some of the things that I say later. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking up like, the 5 Heartbeats is 30 years old. I thought it was crazy because I can still watch the 5 Heartbeats today, right now, and enjoy it like I've never seen it. So, to the panel, do we all love the 5 Heartbeats?
Yes. Of course. Robert Townsend from the Chicago, from the Crib Dated. Harry Lennox, one of my friends. And I'm hanging out with Choir Boy now. So I'm like, I hang out with Choir Boy. I'm like, hey, bro, why you used to watch you singing, sounding real high in the voice, and your daddy mad because he thought you was a heathen. Like,
Wait, like
I
you know
love
that
it.
was in real life?
Yeah, so Choir Boy and I do this football podcast for the podcast. So
I done messed it up,
Harry Lennox and I, we were in Chirac together, so that's how we got cool. And then, you know, so
What position was Choir Boy?
did he play for like, I don't remember, I just know he played the same. Right? Look at that point. We talking about action. We talking about the NFL. I ain't trying to work out what position that man played. I'm talking too much.
That means nobody played. That's all that means. That's all that
What was your 40? I remember all my coaches, goddamn. Every damn near every teammate that I've had. I remember those stuff really, really close.
Yeah. Jasmine.
I ran track and I was doing hurdles and I fell one time and after that I quit. So no.
You just said all that's it.
What it
I
do?
said, fuck it. Like, this is ridiculous. Why am I even doing this?
That's like all the jokes we hear about dudes. We talk about, I was playing football in high school and they hit me one time and I walked over the field and went home. Like, yeah, damn, you just left during the whole game. Like,
Hey, man, you talk about me like that. That was me.
my little man.
You goddamn right. That was me. I stuck the basketball. I beat your ass with a ball, but that football was a whole nother thing. I was like one of the fastest dudes in the school, and you know.
I feel like every black man say that. Why does every black man
I got proof behind mine. I mean, he seen me out on the court before. I'm not slow. So
And I seen Jay on the court when he was 40. So right. Moving past the material.
Absolutely. That's my point.
Yeah. Look at she done ate something. That's why you didn't play sports. Time was going. This guy's horrible.
Okay.
Now he eating snacks. We don't got damn sports. What? Oh.
I have low blood sugar, and I have to. I have my.
You should say that earlier when you said about the age and everything. You should like, look, hot summer, low blood sugar. Right. It's gonna be awkward.
See, I took so. I was sitting here thinking, right, like these people don't want to talk to me. They're not interested in me until I'm doing something.
Okay.
Anywho,
I was a child that's finna get cussed out. Did you see the eye roll, y'all? Did you see the turn?
happened
Did you
next.
see the turn?
I got a little nervous. I didn't know what the fuck was happening.
because it's like, man, let me do the thing.
He took a whole pause. She was like,
Right.
you know, people don't want to talk.
Because I don't want
And
to.
you doing shit.
I'm trying to do a good job. You know what I mean? And it's like I'm trying to stay focused. Oh, I know what I was going to ask y'all. So we talking about the 5 Heartbeats, right? Movie's 30 years old. Everybody has seen it. I want to know from each of y'all, what is your favorite part or scene or song or whatever from the movie? Of course, for me, it's gonna be when they was at the talent show and they was getting food, and then Choir was jumping, running from his stuff, and then they ended up doing a good job, and they ended up doing it like they did in the tunnel.
Mine was after, like, I think it was Eddie Kane was singing, and the dude took, and like old girl in the front just swooned and passed out, and the one nigga was like, every night I got to prove my love. I was like, nigga, you don't need to be in this relationship if your girl keeps swooning over other people. Like, that's because it was just real that you know the power these dudes had in their singing voices. But she was just like,
Jay might be young. That was 2 separate niggas you talking about.
Word. I'm about to say he just mixed 2 scenes.
no, okay, it was JT. That's what it was. It was JT saying, my bad.
And the nigga was in the beginning of the movie about to fight.
But you know what the hell I meant.
He might be 25. That's what I'm saying, Jay. We don't know. You
Okay, I'm glad. We gonna leave it at that because you niggas don't know how, because we're not gonna make this discussion of how old Jay Washington is, bitch. We just said that
This
between
nigga
each other.
intertwined movies and then on Coach Carter. It's like, nigga, what are we talking
Let
about?
me tell you something on Sunset Park
This
ass
is a
nigga.
classic.
It's been a minute since I seen it, but I know what my favorite part is, nigga.
But so you got two favorite parts, because you said the part where Eddie Kane was singing, which was the part where I was talking about, where the lady fell out. Cookie fell out. And then you was talking about after when they was at this other spot and Doug and JP was doing shopping.
That's what it was, yeah.
Okay.
And the dude was like, every night I gotta prove my love. And this nigga was just mad.
Uh-uh.
All right, what you got, Aaron? What's your favorite part?
My favorite part was how does it feel to be me? Like that, he came and it was over and everybody knew it was over. Because we see that in our industry. You know, it normally sound, like OJ jokes. When you hear an OJ joke, that's a how does it feel to be me moment. You know what I mean? Like, we see that a lot. So that's my favorite part because he was the man. He gave it away.
Yeah.
And then he came back and did it. And then I do have to, like, Jay, my office hours are from 9 to 5. Nigga, that is the funniest.
That was official.
Whitney had good point. She put when Eddie flashed the blue suit, the nights like this, I would bring it.
And the nigga was like, Zay. Still got it, baby.
Let me ask you this, Aaron. Have you ever had like a moment in your career or anything in general where somebody like hit you with the how does it feel to be me? Like, has anybody ever, how did you feel to be me? You?
Not yet. Well, actually, it was funny. I was saying that I was doing. I used to do a lot of churches, right, and be big like that. And so a comic who he was more of a character, right? He was doing his thing at this big church we were going to, and then I started getting run, and he didn't like it, right? Because I was getting love, and he came up to me one day and said, "You just cut me in my throat." Like right after altar call, I was like, "Hey, man," he said, "Yeah." And he walked
He hit you
off.
with one of them joints.
I said, "What? What was that? What's this happening?"
After altar call, though, like the doors of the church are open. And did you say a prayer for him?
I didn't know what happened. He left. The next Sunday, I was gonna be like, "Man, whatever I did, my bad." Never saw him again. I don't know if he left the church, the Lord, the profession. Just never.
Okay, let me try to fix this.
Right now, you don't know what you did.
I ripped. I think that's what it was. I think I had a good set, which doesn't matter for the Lord, right? You know, it don't.
You can call him for Jesus.
That's for this man.
So you could be the reason that he quit everything.
Which is amazing, though, low key. That's
Yeah, that's
I might have been doing God's work. You know what I'm
Wait,
saying?
what did he say you did again? He cut you off.
You're
My
just
throat.
you done made that man give up the church.
I was 1 year in the game. I didn't
He
know
gave
what
up
to do.
church,
I was
his
like,
career, everything. He didn't want to be around. That man had went to a Rouse and changed his name. He ain't
Like,
tried.
one more time, Eric. What he do? What he say?
yeah.
"Here's my throat." That's what he said. And I did it.
That's a long ass slash.
A
Slash number one to a something.
Okay.
The whole, that means like I took a knife and licked that. I was all of that.
Do it again.
We doing a long like
Listen, but look, he was the man. I'll tell you. So I was going to City of Refuge, Bishop Noel Jones, right? So I ended up doing that's back when I used to do impersonations, and I had him spot on back then. And the church loved it, but I wasn't thinking about him. You know, I was just doing my thing.
Okay.
And he felt like that was it. But the Sunday before, he gave me some of the best advice ever. He was like, I was talking to him, and he was like, why are you so worried about your weaknesses? I was like, I don't know. He was like, when you get to a certain point, you pay people to take care of your weaknesses. You just focus on your strengths. Right? I was like, okay. Next Sunday, I went up there and focused on my strength. And he said, yes, God.
He didn't think you was gonna take that advice. He was like, "You's a young comic. You ain't gonna take this advice at all." You come back the next week, he like, "Oh, this nigga, yeah."
Now, Aaron, I I'm gonna stick a pin in it. I'm gonna hold that because I got a question for you. I was doing some research and it's interesting you brought up that story. So I got a question for you about that story, but I do want to hear Jay and Jasmine's favorite part. But don't lose this because I'm gonna come back to this.
I can't lose that. Can't lose it. That's still in my mind.
Jasmine, what's your favorite part of the 5 Heartbeats?
Well, I think my favorite part was like everything, a little bit of what everybody else said. I'm joking because I know they're getting ready to rip me up, but I don't remember seeing that ever. I don't think I have seen that. I have 20 years old. I've seen The Temptations, and I can tell you my favorite part of that movie.
Oh wait. You don't know if you've seen the 5 Heartbeats?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it. Like, I think I've seen it on BET in bits and pieces, but I don't think I've ever seen it, like, the whole thing.
22. Yeah. 22. 22,
Yeah.
24.
First of all, you guys
With the
don't know
mother
how old I am.
21.
If you say you older than 29 and like I ain't seen the 5 Heartbeats, we're really gonna have some discussions on this matter. Like,
Well, we won't be having that discussion because you guys won't be learning how old I am. I'm a Hollywood 23, okay?
There you go.
32.
Good lord.
But I mean, the 23 works. I mean, you get all the, say, print ads and Clairol commercials and you cover girl and all this stuff.
You might be 21 though. You got a lot of thirst in these comments.
Man,
That's
niggas is thirsty in these comments.
Listen, the comments, they're loving you, they're loving the skin, they're loving the food, they're loving the You are winning in the comments and
killing it.
Thanks, y'all.
because I am in therapy. I have my therapy session today. I want you that Jasmine, you've been heard, you are seen. They're not going to minimize you or dismiss the
You
fact
like
that you may
that.
or may not have seen the 5 Heartbeats. You are still very much welcome and cared for here.
Thank you.
Evil willing. We will not pick on you.
This is what I learned in therapy today. You are heard.
Work on my
That's
issue.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know when it always applies.
Jay Phillips, what's your favorite part?
Oh my God.
My favorite part of the
Make me
movie was
jump
something that
backwards,
was
why
kinda
don't you?
Relatable. Probably not everybody else's favorite part, but my favorite part is remember the first time that they heard this song on the radio together.
What, Gilbert?
Turned it up and they woke everybody up, and that feeling that everybody in the family had. It was like they heard everybody just started fucking juking and shit right there in front of the radio. It was hitting the Negro dance, you laughing stuff. They was doing all that shit. That was great because I remember that feeling the first time that I had something that was published for everybody to see, and it was just like run around like your head. It was like, oh shit, I'm on TV, I'm on something. You know what I'm saying? So
This
I related to
ridiculous.
that. That's my favorite part of it because that's real. That's what's most relatable. Outside of that, was probably when he comes back with the nights like this. But I think that's everybody's. That's just a memorable moment. But my favorite part is the part that I can relate to.
Yeah,
It's funny you say that, Jay. I'm sorry, Tom.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead here.
Tell the world. It's funny you say that, Jay, because I remember Jay, my big homie in the game. One of my big homies, man.
He's just finishing ridiculous, like
Every time I went up, Jay would be there.
that's all he's doing is just straight finish work.
I didn't see it. I was like, oh man, I really believed he did not see it. Like for 3 years straight. Then one time in the
Oh yeah, he got this in.
I was like, you saw my set? He was like, nah, he just started laughing.
Everything has been
Your set.
a ridiculous green.
It's so funny.
Because Jay said what you wanted about to do.
If he gets another green, then I know that's 4 straight greens he had. That's 4 straight. The only one he didn't get is the turnaround shot.
In his mind would know that everybody was about to come give him some dap. And they was like, yeah, when you walk on stage, when you shit, you waiting for somebody to go touch you. He's like, yeah.
Shut this nigga's whole ego down.
How'd I do? And I'm like, oh, when you going up? That's what he was saying. When you about to go, you went up already?
His whole ego down, just like,
He goes, right here, Young Thomas are dumb, bro.
He kept him humble. He around it.
Hey, Aaron, you been out, Aaron and Jay, y'all been out there when they used to have jokes and notes in Chicago, how it used to be.
Yeah,
Like, if we come on stage, you be looking for Mary Lindsay trying to get some things. Hey, Mary, did you see the set? Mary, like, just walking past you. You like, what I
Mary stayed in her office the whole time I was in Chicago, nigga. I did 2 days, 4 shows.
Yep.
Never came out of her office.
I hate that I never had the opportunity to go to that spot or work that spot because I hear so many stories about it. So
Jokes was legendary.
It was pretty dope.
It's like even when I hear stories about like the peppermint, and I'm like, dang, like that.
Peppermint wasn't dope, but it was a necessary evil.
I was gonna say I heard that that's where you
Wasn't
went
dope though.
to get strong.
Wasn't fucking dope. Not fucking dope.
Okay.
That's so strong and adamant in Jay Basil. What fucking dope.
It was tough in there. They said that's where to build up.
I just wanted to see if he had the Zen.
I'm not saying it's not doable. I'm not saying that. I've done well in there, but it is not fun. It's not some to me. I'm at a point in my career where I try not to, like I've been 26 years. I've grinded through every one of those type of rooms. I left my mark in Baltimore. Left my mark in DC. I've been through every rough room, every on the East Coast. I came up paying all of my dues before I did any television. And when I did TV, I still went back and did Uptown Comedy every year. I still go back and do Baltimore Comedy Factory every year.
First game back on.
Mainstream acts have problems.
His stretch of wild, ridiculous shots were.
In your face, and I put those on my calendar every year for the last 20 years. But
This cool, he got me.
that I'm not gonna do that shit no more. Certain one, like a one-nighter in Jersey at the Peppermint Lounge right now is not appealing to me when I got to get up there and fight just to be heard for 30 minutes and struggle to see if you can make it through with people. Hey man, I'm cool on that. Goddamn it, I've done that already. I'm cool. My shit already works. I don't need to know if it works in this room. I know it works. Man,
That makes sense.
I got anything?
Well, I don't know right now if there is on the East Coast. Jay, you might know. I don't know if any of you guys know. Like on the East Coast, I don't know if there's a spot like that. I heard that what's this place called? It's in New York. It's called I don't know, but they said there's a room in New York where it's like,
He got
hey,
8 contracts.
A
So.
room?
Yeah, right, because Brooklyn got a bunch of them bitches.
Freddie Ricks, probably his room. Yeah, Freddie Ricks got one. BBQ.
What is it? Smokies. I want to say Smoky.
Smoky Phil. So yeah, you gotta compete with a Jamba Juice machine behind you. And yeah, so you be like, and then I said, so your joint better be funny. And then people, last time I was performing, I'm killing. I mean, I had a great set, but people were walking past me during my punchline. You know what I mean? Like, and then, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. You got to do those, though. Those, like Jay said, those are rites of passage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Uptown.
I get it. Uptown is Atlanta, right?
On a Sunday.
That's in Atlanta? Aaron?
Yeah. What my name is? And then you got to go. I remember performing opening before Jay in Uptown. We ripped before Jay. Right. You was with me in Uptown. Yeah. Ripped right before, because Jay came in on the headliner nights. Thursday. I'm there Wednesday killing, right? But then real nice. See, every city got its own personality, right? Chicago is real. Atlanta, they think they funnier than you. New York is harsh. LA, everybody knows somebody famous, so they think they better than you. I'm in Atlanta. We do a good job, me and a couple openers. So the night Jay comes, that night the host decides she gonna do birthdays. And if you quit your job and if you got a paycheck for an hour and a half of total pandemonium, and then I first time she introduced me, she said, "Well, this comic did good last night. We gonna see tonight." Aaron. That's why I'm so impressed by your introduction. Aaron. I go up. The only way I survived that set, I think I told him, I said, you started with a Lord joke. Yeah, and then I told him, well, I appreciate this Mortal Kombat set y'all gave me. Finish him. Right? And then they started laughing. I got off. I remember Jake took me to Gladys Knights, and we had a meal. And that was the day Jay encouraged me to get a job. Encouraged? I broke my hand on the back of his shoulder. I was selling medical. I had come from making 6 figures. This nigga was making a lot of bread.
You know who do shit like that to you? Jake, you know who do shit like that? Bald-headed Marlon Mitchell. They'll do shit like that to you. They'll be like, you know, you just ain't. Look, sometimes God got other plans for you. You like, what?
But he was right because I wasn't at the point where I should have quit my job. And so then after him talking to me, and then Naeem Lynn got a hold of me and was like, man, here goes some clothes, man. Get yourself together. Get a job and take after work no more. Because, you know, honestly, when you move out to LA, you think you're good enough. And if you don't, you're not going to move out to LA. You understand? So you got to go through those hiccups and all that stuff, go back, do your thing, and then get back. But, you know, I ended up touring with Earthquake and doing my thing, but it just like, he was right. I didn't want to hear it, but he was right. So I appreciate that waffle and chicken, man. I needed it because I didn't have enough money to even, I didn't have a tip. I didn't have enough to tip.
It's all good, man. I knew you were going to be straight, but you was out here struggling for no motherfucking reason at all.
Let's go. Come on. We got set up now.
Answer the phone and go to work. You can have $8 grand in your bank in about 2 weeks. What the fuck is you
We got it set up now.
Go get something to eat. Tell your jokes at night. And keep on rocking, my nigga. What is the problem?
Oh, I did something else.
Let me ask you this, Aaron. So because you're in LA now, right?
No, I ended up moving to Pittsburgh. Long story.
God damn it. That's why I ain't seen you. Okay.
Yeah, that's where my babies are.
When you decided to like quit your job and pack up and move to LA, you were like, "Hey,
let's go.
I'm good, right? I got good take right now." Because I did some research.
No, I moved to LA and got a job.
Oh, okay. Because I saw something interesting about you in my research that I must ask you about.
What's that?
You got a standing ovation the very first time you did stand-up comedy, and you wrote a 15-minute set in 15 minutes.
Yep.
Hate myself when I try to bait and it just don't work out to plan at all.
Yeah, so when I wasn't a comic yet, really. And so one night I was in college, I was playing ball, and I didn't take comedy serious. And it was almost like God woke me up and said, go write. So I go to the little student thing, and I write this 15-minute set, 15 minutes. I go perform it, standing up. Go perform it again, standing up. So I go to come into the stage auditions and make all the way to the final cuts. I had only been on stage 3 times. And so it really was a tool God was using to show me, like, I got something for you. So when I moved to LA, I was working, and I wasn't even thinking about stand-up. But I understood that I had a gift for it. But the reason I was getting standing nose is because I didn't care at all. So when I got serious about comedy, it went like this. Fast. I mean, that's back when you go to the union, you had to invite at least 7 people. There are at least 52 people that don't believe in me and never will. I was stinking it up. That's what it is. Like when you gotta.
Hey Aaron, when you going up?
Let's go. I'm loving my big guys now. They are rebounding now that I moved Cat to power forward.
Now I had to fight through that. But I mean, I got over it and figured it out. But I started off great because I didn't care. And that's where all comics try to get to, is where we don't care anymore. and we do that. But I started out like that.
Let's go. Come on, Ray.
And it got bad swiftly, expeditiously.
You went in it not caring, and then you cared, and then. So what did you learn? Care less.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I think I gave him
It's easy to say, but when you just start
the space.
you don't know.
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't know. Like, I care. I care a lot about what I like.
So what helped me is I took David Arnold's class. David Arnold, a great writer, and I took his class like 6 months in the game. It was like being in a locker room. He's like, you niggas is out here doing all these shows, and you're not. What are you doing? You know what I mean? And he was just like hammering us. And he got me that the first rule of comedy was don't give a, you know what, like don't care at all. And so I didn't actually.
Let's go, big man.
Well, I mean, not on here.
Because I just realized he was like, you don't give a, you know what? I was like, what? What doesn't he give? A fuck? I was like, what?
Somebody play fill in the blank.
Wait, didn't you say Aaron was a minister?
That's a bucket.
He did say that he was a minister. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, what? Because I know some pastors and reverends and
Let's go.
folk that they use the words like
Not on Zoom. Not on this.
Okay,
Not on the pulpit.
In other words, not where it can be recorded and put back out for the people to see. Like, no, not in the presence of humans.
I tried to click back on him.
Talking about thoughts.
Okay.
Some people can't handle that, and then you got a word. They're like, nigga, I remember you was cussing and doing this, that, and the other. It ain't really for me.
Wow.
God said,
Right.
niggas.
Right.
What pastor you know that said that, Ty?
Kevin Martin.
Y'all know that. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with y'all? You niggas is crazy. I got that clip. I put that shit up on Twitter whenever somebody says something dumb. Like, what's wrong with you? You niggas is crazy. Like,
What I will say this is, Aaron, I respect your decision, because I had therapy today. I respect your decision to not use profanity. However, you fucker it up tonight.
Do your thing. I don't care.
But I just wanted you to know that I don't want you to feel uncomfortable, but I'm going to use dirty words.
Guys, I'm not like that. I mean,
Come on.
I'm just a regular dude, man. I just try to look
Oh, he cannot get that rebound. That's craziness.
That I know and trust. It's a different story.
You know they're not going to rat you out and be like, yo, Aaron, because...
No, we just talking, you know what I mean?
There we
people
go.
don't understand the word. It talks about curse. It's not talking about, bitch. It's talking about actually word curses. You know what I'm saying? But so they don't understand the difference between saying, I hope you doing the Sealy, everything you do is going, that's a curse.
That's a hex, nigga. That ain't a curse. That's a hex. The nigga gotta go from here to here.
All the way. So right to hit him first. After him doing some shit like that in your face, you could have jabbed him. Right. You could have took that as a threat. Like, nigga, I had to pop you to get you up off me. You doing some shit like that.
And he wasn't never gonna see this nigga again because clearly the nigga done disappeared after that. Like,
Never seen him, bro. I don't know where he at.
That nigga probably watching this Zoom right now. Talking about that's that young nigga right there that got me out the game.
Nigga like that, he is, but you gotta get the all request button to see it.
Well, that's trash, cause
Hey, young fella, I was wondering how you been doing. That nigga just sent
I
you
used NT for that.
Man, when I found that goddamn all request button, I was like, God damn, I'm famous. It was about 3 years before I found that shit. I was dazed. I'm like, this nigga told me.
Wait, the first thing you say to yourself is, God damn, I'm famous. Like, you didn't even say, what the fuck is this? You say, shit. You know what? My value is skyrocketing, goddamn it. I'm good. You know what? Look at all these niggas want to talk to me that I don't know. All right.
Same thing, man.
Oh, man. That is funny. Okay. Well, I have a question for Jasmine. Now, and this is it's more like a ladies' question, but I do want to pose it on the other side for the fellas. So I was looking at these videos, right? So I look at like interesting things. So if anybody ever did like a search history, they'd be like, "Why you be looking at that?" Not the porn stuff, but like regular stuff, right? So like, I am fascinated by videos of people like doing hair and makeup, right? So I saw this video the other day of this guy he had like a George Jefferson, you know,
Yes, involved.
just Maybach, basically. But I was watching the process of them putting a unit on him. And then
I like when they call it a unit. That's dope. Right.
You could just say they gave this nigga a lace front. You said, hey, they gave this nigga a lace front. Shit was like, you know, being a little soft right there. You were home. You got a little piece of hair on your head.
on the man, right? Cul-de-sac, hilarious. So they put the unit on him, but then I would see other videos where men were getting unit beards. Right?
Them niggas was going to Doc University. Terrible.
So I got to talking with one of my homegirls, and I was like, "Hey, like, could you date a dude? Now I know that you are attached. You're very much married and all, but I don't know if he's bearded or not. But let's say
He's bearded. Yes, he's bearded.
So let's say hypothetically he's not
Taquitos.
bearded, right? He got the bald face, and he come home one day, like he call you, he like, "Hey, babe, I got a surprise for you."
Yeah.
What's in the house with a full unit on his face. My homegirl asked me, could I date a man that had a unit on his head or his face? And I was like, yeah, I could. So I want to ask you, if yours was bald face and he came home with a full beard, would you be like, if you don't get that off your face, like, what's you feeling about that?
Okay, you know what? A unit on his head, I think is fine. You know, as long as it looks good, as long as it's undetectable, and as long as you're going back every 2 weeks to get that shit edged up and glued back down, okay? Yeah, you better not miss an appointment either.
Yeah.
But the unit on the head is cool. But the unit on the face, I don't think I can go with that
I
because
think that's goddamn self-esteem issues when you got to put a wig on your face.
You want a nigga coming out with Ecuadorian refugee hair. This nigga got Ecuadorian refugee hair on his face. Tell me some shit.
Young Jock just did it, like, on his
Wow.
face.
girl, I
Chuck
don't
also
care.
went through a perm. That nigga also had a Aretha Franklin perm at one point.
I'll say this: if you get a
Just do
wig
whatever.
unit on your face, there's a good chance that you're gonna get breast implants in the next year. At least.
This nigga got a full set and everything. Talking about some, man.
I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry, Walter. Walter said, "Wait, what a unit?" Listen, I probably said it wrong. I don't know if it's called a unit beard or a fake
This
beard.
is a unit.
This nigga got a lace front beard.
He got a lace piece.
A lace face beard. Right. This nigga got
Face. And okay, so then to the guys. So if you, I don't know what y'all situations. Okay, Jay, Phillips.
What's up?
Let's say you decide tomorrow. You know what? I want a little cut Caesar with the Dean Waves.
I'm gonna do the what now?
They could put a unit on you. What if you decided I want dreadlocks tomorrow?
Sure.
Would you do so? Are you anti-unit on the face and on the head?
I would do it for work. I'm doing a project. I look forward to the day where they was like, hey, I need this nigga to have this much hair. Then they ain't got to put nothing on me to put. I mean, I'm cool with that for work. I'm an actor.
Let's
Shit.
go.
People wear wigs every day in acting.
I mean, like, I'm talking about like.
No, for
I don't have real money. This is all I eat, man. I get off the plane, wake up, tell jokes, go somewhere, tell jokes there, come pick my kids up, drop them off, tell jokes, and then before I go to bed, I'm on Zoom telling some fucking jokes. This is what I do, baby. I don't know what else to do. I don't clock out.
So Jay, are you married or?
I'm married.
You're married, okay. Well, what if your wife was like, "Can you get a little fade situation just for like my birthday or something like that?" Where we could
Grow up.
What type What type of birthday present is that? Look, I know you've been bald
That's
the past
weird.
20 years we've been together.
Mm-mm.
But this year,
You better look back at one of them pictures when I had some hair when we met.
right.
Right.
You get the Eddie Winslow or something.
Now I can grow hair. I just choose to be bald because it don't look as good as I want it to look when it's full.
Yep.
I got a hairline. I got all that shit. I can literally get. I'm not bald because I'm struggling. I'm bald because
I was about to say that is the most bull.
put a record. I can grow hair, but I don't like the way it don't grow. Shit, I went from shoulder length braids to this.
My shit, I just felt like my head was the right shape. I got the right size head to be bald. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause every nigga head don't fit.
Everybody got all these stories.
Oh,
Let me tell you why I'm bald.
Let's go.
This don't even run in my family. My dad got this back here. I'm supposed to have my hair. I found out at 19 that I went bald at 19.
Oh.
I found out it's because I was stressing. So it's a story I tell sometimes. I was a virgin until I was almost 20. They called me Church Boy Aaron. I caught up, but it was back then. That's why you lost your fucking hair.
Yeah, you was stressed out, nigga. You wasn't getting better. Like, what am I doing about all this?
No, that wasn't what it was. When I started
I
having
know.
sex,
I just ordered something. The place closed in 5 minutes. I know they reading that like,
I
dog.
said I cannot have her telling everybody about this. So I'm gonna figure
He
it
bet
out
not.
and I'm gonna stop. But I couldn't. And I was playing ball, so I didn't know nothing about it. Nobody gave me a birds and bees talk. They thought I was gonna be a virgin forever. So I had no idea. I ended up being a hoe. So the problem was I grew up old school Pentecostal. And every denomination has its cardinal sin. And if you Pentecostal, it's fornication.
Yes, it is.
So literally, I thought I was going to hell every night, but I couldn't stop.
this story is
It was
wild.
too good.
I just want to know what your repentance
Let's go. I'm about to say, you down there.
is like.
I don't know.
You down there. Make it happen.
And then just later awake, like, well, he's coming to take me. This is it. This is the night. Satan is coming.
You was coming first, then Satan was coming late.
My barber was cutting my hair. He's like, he's from the side. My barber was from the side. He said, fam, hey, Joe, this ain't, your hair pattern ain't supposed to be like this. He was like, what you worried about? I was like, man, I ain't worried about nothing. I'm 20.
Nigga told you was worried while he was cutting your hair.
Therapy.
Hey, that nigga got clippers back here shaping up this shit. Like, nigga, what you stressed out about? Like,
Didn't realize we were like 2 years.
Hey, we hears in the comments. Hate to hear everybody say hate to you.
Hey, what I do?
Shout out to Keith Moore.
He's
Ew.
like, drive the car tonight.
Ew.
He let me drive it before and I didn't crash, so he let me drive again. So we love to hear. Shout out to the Moore Mob. Also, this is an excellent time to remind the people that are watching at home, if you have not hit the like button yet, please
Do
so.
that.
Also, the cash apps of my very funny colleagues are displayed upon the screen. If the spirit moves you, let him use you. And go ahead and drop something off in the cash app. And do not forget that there is a new episode of More to the Story that is out
We
right now.
don't
Very lovely
got
Darren
no
Moore
more.
and Carrie Dad Poley, which are the wives of Tahir Moore and Keon Poley. So support that tomorrow. Of Wording is Hard with Just Niche. Just Niche is so freaking funny. I
I love
swear.
Denise.
Oh my gosh, she's so funny. Please
always
check it out. And then Thursday is a new
Yeah.
episode of Damn Internet You Scary with guest Audra or Andra. I'm gonna look at it. But basically, go watch all of these things and do not forget, if you're not already doing it, to subscribe to Tahir Moore's Patreon. Also like, comment, share, and follow us. You see us. You see what we're doing here. We're chopping it up. Now, Aaron.
Shout out Ernestine, too, for hitting the cash out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sis.
Thank you for the blessing.
Wow.
Now, question for you, Aaron.
Yes.
Would you be open to
Uh-huh.
a unit upon your head or upon your face? Would you do a lace face?
Man, it is what it is.
Okay.
I'm 38. I haven't got time. I wouldn't have done that at 22. It is what it is. And
Okay.
you make it work. You know what I'm saying? I can pull off the ball, so it is what it is.
What about you, Jay Washington? I'm going to say y'all last name so I don't confuse it. So, Jay Washington, what you think?
I'm with Jay Phillips. Like, if this, as an actor, like, if they need me for a project that have a bunch of hair on my head and face, then yeah, glue it on. I can grow hair. I just choose not to, because I don't feel, and I don't think there's no reason I should just sit up one day, you know, just wake up like, man, it's Tuesday, 11:15 in the morning. Let me go see what this barber doing. See if he can go ahead and hook me up. Like, I don't want. I just feel weird about having a. I shave a lot, and all of a sudden I got some sticky shit and Ecuadorian refugee hair on my face. Like, I don't think that's gonna. No, I'm good. I'm good.
I think I can grow this though, but it itches.
It just itches. Yeah, that's why I shave it. It just itches.
I was gonna grow it, and then I was like, nah, I'm good. And then I met I was walking around and a Hebrew Israelite said, brother, where is your beard? I said, well, my face itches. He was like, where's your hair? I was like, I'm bald. He was like, brother, where's your purple? I was like, I don't have nothing. He was like, brother, how is the Lord going to identify you when he comes back? I'm like, you mean to tell me he ain't going to be able to figure out who I am because I don't have a purple shirt, facial hair, and a scattered hairline? What?
Yeah, that's the first time I heard of that.
Bro, they don't play. Yeah, man, they don't play. I saw them in SAC. I was doing Laughs Unlimited. They was out there in front of the club.
Well, this is my thing because when I saw it, and I like it, because I think it's interesting how they do it. I'm kind of like with Jasmine, like if you gonna do it, make sure you in there you keep it up, you keep it maintenance. Because my homegirl was like, "You would date a guy with that?" I was like, I wear wigs and weaves, and so wouldn't it kind of be hypocritical if I would like
No,
this?
it wouldn't. No.
This is a wig, y'all. This is not my hair. This is a wig. And I've entered the weird phase of my life. I love being able to snatch my whole head off at the end of the day, tying it down with my scarf, and then tomorrow I get to look like a whole different person. Oh, I don't know what I've been doing my whole entire life. Right. Y'all saw what here say, get them lights up. So I would be okay with a guy if he had, you know, like a beard. And then my homegirl was like, well, wouldn't you feel deceived? I was like, nigga, sometimes it be cornrows up under here. Like, dudes don't know what's up under here until they get in here. You got to get in here to find out what's under here. You know, like
once you get in there, it don't matter at all.
That's true. Don't make him shit then.
So Jasmine and Ty, I'm sorry. I mean, I believe in double standards to a certain extent.
I do too.
And men, we just not allowed to just do anything that women do sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, a man got to be confident in who he is. If he's not, I don't trust him. I can't trust a man that's going to sweat off his hair. That's not.
Toupees aren't new. Like, that's what they used to be called. Toupees.
Come on, launching pad.
Right, that's the shit boingins and all those. But like, you know, they're terrible. No. And they don't do
Harvey rocked the unit for years. And it was obvious. But at least he was a, like Jay, television personality. You understand? Like, he's doing it. He ain't just
How are you getting beat to the side?
Random job, like, you know,
Like, I'm trying to trap.
make sure I'm sexy. No man should be trying to be sexier than you.
working at the bank as a teller, talking about some. Hold on for a second. Let me.
Do you feel like, because I know you said the thing about double standards, do you feel like women who wear weaves and wigs and makeup and whatever, do you feel like it's a self-esteem issue for women, or you just feel like that's a natural thing that women do?
No, it's the culture. I mean, I think for women, like, I feel like if a woman is naturally beautiful, like, you know, you don't necessarily need to, but if you want to, do your thing. You know what I mean? Like, but you don't need to
I have a question about this. Because I kind of feel like the guys are requiring your friends or men to be confident when everybody deals with confidence issues, not just men or women. But I think you're requiring your male friends and your peers to feel confident, but you are also accepting things that women do when they don't feel confident, like getting BBLs or altering our face, our hair, our makeup, which are sometimes those are things we do because
I don't want you to alter your face. Like,
but I think it depends on the guy. Right. It depends on the guy too. Like
I like your natural beauty. Like, for a woman, I want to see you. I want to say.
What if I'm naturally ugly though? Then what do we do?
If I'm with you, though,
That's tough.
hold it along. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm not, like somebody, that's the thing. Like I'm not requiring a man to be anything outside of what a man is. A man is a protector. How is he gonna protect you if he's so image conscious? You know what I mean? How is he gonna protect you? The thing is a woman is geared, and her nature is to be in her essence. Is to make herself beautiful and do all these different things. That's not a man's natural position. A man's natural position is to protect.
How?
So when he's doing all this extra stuff,
He is sticking around.
Get clean. I don't mind that. But if he's altering his hair and doing all this extra stuff, why? Why is he doing that? It's unnecessary. So it makes me think he's trying to be cute, turn than you.
If I can interject, I always feel like this: if you're a man and you with a woman, you've already seen past everything, unless you because if you meet them 9 times out of 10, you're meeting somebody who's dolled up. 9 times out of 10. That's why they always say the test is when you see them without anything, when you see them naturally, and then when you just like, yo, you still just as beautiful naturally as you are dolled up. Then that means that person cares about you. And so when you do anything, women. I've always said this: women do this for themselves. Now, whether it be an esteem issue, whatever the case may be, that's not on me to judge. But women do it for themselves. But as a guy, as a guy, if I'm rocking with you, if I'm with you, I'm with you.
I'm with you. Period.
Hold on, 1 second. Wait. So are we going to pretend that there aren't societal norms and expectations of women and what we look like or should look like, because the whole women get cute for ourselves? Well, that's just...
Oh, no. No, I'm not saying there are definitely societal norms. Again, we're in Los Angeles, for most of us in Los Angeles right now, where there's a certain standard of what a woman should be like body size wise, or even a guy. So yeah, there are bullshit norms and societal norms, but there are also people who do things for themselves. I sit here and go to the gym 6 days a week and lift 120-pound dumbbells for me, not for anybody else. I do that for me. So I have female friends who put different wigs on and do their makeup on for them. That's what I'm saying in that regard.
And I've seen his arms. He does 120 pounds for sure. Like swole.
I don't know. All I was saying is I think you guys are saying, oh, men can't be insecure, but sometimes men don't feel good about themselves, and there's that one thing that can just make them help them.
Okay, well, I don't. Maybe I was twisting, rolling, lighting, or something at the time. But I've never heard somebody say that men ain't insecure. I think that I think the protection part when it comes to like wearing a unit and all of that good stuff. I think what he was just talking to is that there's a different type of peer energy that you get from your male friends as a man, and that you get from your female friends when you're a female. There are different things. I don't think that I think that there's a misinterpretation going on. I think there are some very unstable, very not secure dudes out there, and I think there's just as many of those as there are females. There's just as many people. Every person on earth has a flaw on them right now that they would fix at the snap of a finger if they could do it. All of them, everybody. But we carry it a little different. As a woman's beauty, no matter which way you want to cut it, if it's the sexist purview of it or not, women are naturally more beautiful, pretty, dainty. They are, that's just the nature of the woman. Not saying that's what you have to be. Not saying that all that you could be a fucking thug if you want to. I don't care, but you have to fight from your natural of the pretty, the beautiful.
Just doing whatever.
You're a tomboy. I mean, maybe I don't know how right all that shit is now. I don't know, but the point of it is what it is. And if you see a man not going out there being, extra being more masculine, if he's out there doing the extra stuff that is not necessary for him to carry out his manly duties, then it's not looked the same upon with, like through his men, you know what I'm saying, through the group of men.
Yeah,
And
I like
honestly, that's what we do. It's a community. You do it for the community, and you want to represent yourself in your community the best way you can. And all of it is self-esteem, no matter which way it is. But whatever it is to make you feel better about yourself. I don't need to put on no unit to feel good about myself. I'm dope. Naked in the street. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? I do it like it's whatever. I don't need to be dope. It's like a goddamn thing. But would I mind being 6'3"? That'd be dope. Ain't shit I can do about 6'3" though.
How tall are you? I feel like you're that tall.
No, hell no. I'm 5'11".
I was gonna say, cause you taller than me, Jay Phillips.
I might have had on some Alexander McQueens that day too. I'm 6'1" with my McQueens on. That's right. I paid $400 for them shoes. Them motherfuckers make me
Hilarious. What you say? They better give me some height, goddammit.
That's that right.
$400 so it better amp a nigga up a little bit.
I'm looking at like I'm kind of up and down. Like I got my finger, so I'm looking at the comments. And to the people in the comments, we're very happy that you're watching and that you're here, and we appreciate you. Please hit the like button while you're watching, and also be mindful that Tahir has designated me to host this evening, and let us do what we're doing. And if you don't like it, well, then you have options. But to clarify just what I heard each and every person say as a preference, because I think a lot of times we try to bash people or make people feel bad about their preferences. The fellas on the panel tonight have said, hey, if a dude wants to do the man unit or the lace face, I don't even know what you call it. It's a lace face. They're like, hey, that's their business. They personally prefer not to do that for themselves, and that is okay. And I would date a dude that had a lace face as long as he, kept it together. Jasmine has expressed that, if hubby came home one day with the situation, she'd be like, okay, if this is what we doing, but make sure that you get your lace face maintenance and you are put together. So I don't want anybody in the comments to try to, make anybody feel bad or, attack based on what our preferences are. And I think that we've gotten a little sensitive as a society anyway when as a preference about what they do or do not like.
And I appreciate you, Tyron. It's really about me. It's not about you. You know what I mean? Like, people are in the comments don't understand like what I'm saying, and I think Jay put it perfectly. He's just I'm talking based on how guys a lot of times communicate with each other, and so it just is what it is, man. People are not gonna agree all the time, but I don't think that it's okay for us to come and hide who we are or how we think about certain things. I get it if I was like, no, women should be doing. No, I told you, like, yo, if you naturally beautiful, I love that. If you want to put makeup on, you do that.
Oh, he got a defensive
when I'm talking about my
one with
community,
Lonzo,
guys, I saw a brother in there, he said he had cancer. God bless you. Clearly, that's not what we're talking about, brother. If you want to do your thing, we're talking about what we got going on here in this panel. I got the loss. Jay got, you know what I mean? We're talking about that and being okay with that and being comfortable with yourself as a man at the end of the day, because we need to be protectors. But it is what it is. I don't ever worry about that these days. But I just want you to know you're doing a great job, Ty. It's not like
I just don't want to face. I just don't want a Velcro beard on my face. I just can't sit around here.
Yeah.
Then also as the dude, here's the
Lonzo.
getting the lace face. Because then you got to have your girl make appointments because niggas, we forget shit. We be like, oh, I was supposed to get this shit maintenance. Now this shit half hanging off his face on the other half. This nigga trying to re-glue it all. Like,
you can't. I'm not gonna have my boo out there with his lace face peeling off. No. First of all, we're gonna have a stash.
He got me, man.
And you were gonna have some on your person just in case, because I'm gonna make sure my
person is gonna last. That's gonna last until his homeboys find out what's going on. This nigga gonna roast the shit out of him. Never ever do it again. That's what's gonna happen. As soon as your homies find That's what you want. It is going to be the last day that you hear about that shit, and you will never do it again. That's how we police our community.
Yeah.
Women, y'all do the same shit too, and don't even act like you don't. It's if y'all see a chick with a
I don't even know how. What's the best way to make
if y'all
MT?
see a chick with a wig that's maintenance wasn't kept, if y'all see somebody's shoes ain't right, if you see that, y'all be all over them hoes.
Not all the time, though. It's not all the time. It's not all the time, because let's be honest, we all look at somebody, we be like, she ain't got no friends. Because, like, you been seeing people.
That ain't none of my business. That ain't none of my
See
business.
what I'm saying? Some people like, no, I ain't got nothing to do with that. But niggas, we look at each other, we be like, hey, fam, let me. All right, I'm not gonna put you aside. Nigga, what are you doing? Why you got this on? Why is your face feeling this up? Yeah, what are those? Like, ask this nigga with a lace face on. Nigga, why do I see glue tracks by your eyes? You know what I'm saying? What's wrong with your face? Like,
You see, I think but that's just it. Like, it's about, the different approaches. Like, listen, I don't want people around me that are just going to stay and appease me just to make me feel good. I need my homegirls to be like, sis, that's not
Right.
good. You know what I mean? And I have had homegirls that I was like, what do you think it is? I'm killing these hoes. She was like, I don't know, what hoes you think you killing?
Not these hoes.
You know, it's so I
See, with me, it has to be a real friend. I don't just go around walking giving people advice because people will snap on you, and you might really be trying to help somebody. Like, bro, your lace is lifting up. I can see your scalp.
Yeah.
And then they
You
will
don't do that. Rangers.
hey, but niggas can't walk. Hey, look, let's be real. Niggas can't walk to random niggas either.
Hold on real quick, Mr. J, because here's another thing. There's certain scenarios where we don't say anything, and I'm saying we as ladies and Jasmine, I think you can back me up on this. There's certain things about the ladies where we know. So we don't even have to say something. Like, if my lace is lifted, like if I'm peeling back, I know it is because we can feel it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't feel the need to be like, hey sis, you might want.
You won't say that to her. That's not the point I make. You say that to the sis that you with. You be like, girl, look at that. Look at her over there with the yam and his shirt on. Look at that. Don't look now. But look, her shit is peeling up right there on the tracks. You make no goddamn. Look at that. Look at that. That's what y'all do.
If it's small, like if it's like say, I remember one time this lady was coming out the bathroom and she had like toilet paper stuck to her shoe, and hey sis, something like that is different. But if your eyebrows don't match, I'm not gonna say nothing to you. If your lashes, one is, I'm gonna let you. That shit.
But will you say something to your girl though? Will you say something to your girl?
Yes.
Most of the time, my girl will have already seen it because women have the ability to use telepathy. Like sometimes me and my homegirls have whole conversations and no words are said. We could just look at each other.
That's okay.
So perfect. That's how we was doing it. But
Come
but
on.
I'm loving this conversation. I wanna. This is not the messy part.
Can we get to the messy part?
This ain't the messy part. Wait, this not the messy part?
It's already been messy for me.
Gilbert! Yo, Gilbert just did mad extra moves, bro. I literally tried to just go for the layup. I seen he did the extra move.
The messy part for me.
That's crazy, bro.
So
Gilbert is just going to Gilbert, bro. Good lord. He did like mad extra moves.
Watching TikTok has like trending sounds and trending filters and whatever, right? And for whatever reason, I do not follow this person, but on my For You page, they show up all the time. So I see their stuff. And this person had a new song, and I heard 60 seconds of their new song, and I was like, oh, that's kind of catchy. I think I like that sound. I literally was gonna, just going about my life and just think nothing of it. The very next day after that, I started to see clips on social media of their video, and I was like, oh, no. And then more information came out. So,
Come on.
Lil Nas X has a new song called Call Me By Your Name. Now, I heard it before I saw it, and I thought it was a catchy tune. I didn't really pay attention to lyrics or anything like that.
Come on.
And people are up in arms and they're going crazy and it's all.
The only way I can stop him is with somebody tall like Anthony Davis.
He's a little eccentric, anyway, right? And then apparently he came out with some Beelzebub 11s, some Satan shoes, and
I keep looking.
Nike is suing the company that partnered with Lil Nas X to create these shoes for, was it trademark infringement? I think it is.
Yeah.
So, one, it is alleged, I don't know if this is true, that they've only made 666 pairs of these
And
shoes.
sold them all out in a minute.
And that the shoes have 1 drop of human blood.
These are bloody shoes.
Really bloody shoes. And
Good Lord.
I actually before we started the Zoom tonight, I was like, all right, let me watch this video. The video is like 3.5 minutes. I watched the whole music video. Yeah, the Beelzebub 11s. That's what I call them. But I think they're Air Max 97s. 97, okay. But I call them the Beelzebub 11s. Anyway, so that's all the praise, and that's what everyone's talking about. But what other people didn't know is that he did make some Jesus sneaks.
Mm-hmm.
So he got the Satan shoes, but he also got the Jesus shoes. But
I thought it was Drake.
no, they said that it was
Mischief, the same company that partnered with Lil Nas X made
It's the
Jesus
company.
shoes.
It's the
Yeah, it's
company.
the company. Yeah.
The company, not Lil Nas X.
Yeah.
they got the Jesus shoes and they got the Satan shoes. But ultimately, a lot of people are in an uproar, right? Mostly, I don't really want to say mostly, but I've been seeing a large demographic of like religious people coming out, and the stuff that's on his TikTok and his comments and stuff, like people are really mean, people are really hurtful, and they're saying some really mean stuff to him, and he's just kind of like, well, whatever. Are any of you guys trying to cop up on the Beelzebub 11s?
You can't. They're gone. They sold out in a minute.
Hey, let's
They
say
sold out in
hypothetically-
66 seconds, probably.
Let's say hypothetically, they match more.
Oh, okay.
Walk with me on a hypothetical. If you could purchase some Beelzebub 11s, would you buy these shoes?
Me, nah.
As a businessman? No, I'm just bullshitting. No, I wouldn't do that. It's always an extra question.
So I got them shits in that first minute, and I was holding on to them.
That eBay value.
These is masks for $30 back in March.
I know somebody's gonna resell them shoes. I know somebody's reselling them
That's the reason why you do it. And first of all, let's just keep it a buck. Yeah, it sold out in a minute, but you know how it sold out in a minute. This is the bot era, okay?
Yeah.
This is the era where these ain't people sitting up waiting until the middle of the night. These are motherfuckers that got these bots set up that as soon as you're ready to get something, it's already in the cart the moment it's up, and it's already out of here. So it's not like a real legitimate line, even though it's still it is just as horrible. I feel bad for Lil Nas X, man. I'll be honest with you. I believe that this dude, and it's just my purview of what I'm seeing as a person who's been in the industry for a long time. It seems to me that, he's just been manipulated. It looks like he's allowing somebody or something is allowing him to just try anything that he can try in order to become success. It's almost like Tekashi. He's doing like Tekashi 69 shit, but doing it with sexuality and religion, and Tekashi is doing it with gang violence and that type of stuff. And both of them are talented dudes, but I think that they just fucking with the algorithms of what pushes people's buttons right now. And I think they both playing a super dangerous game, to be honest with you. And I don't know whether or not, like I said, first of all, I don't care if the dude's gay. I don't care if I don't care about none of that. That bothers me not at all. That bothers me not at all. But
Do I have a preference of what I want to see? Sure. Just like I'm heterosexual, but I don't want to see. I get sick and tired of seeing two straight people kissing my face. I don't want to see nobody do that shit. So it ain't just irritating me just for that. It's like you lap dancing a dude in a video. Come on, man. All right, cool. That's supposed to be safe. You saying something? It's art. Yeah, but at the end of the day, a nigga put some makeup on and sat in that chair, and you went up there and humped on him. See, that's where I check out. But
I'm gonna be honest with you. After I saw the video, like, you ever like watch a movie or you see something and you like? Because I'm not a religious person, but I do believe in what I believe, and I don't feel like arguing with anyone. And if you do shit, I will block you.
I'm with the shit.
You come with the shit, okay? I haven't always been saved, but after I watched it, I was like, whew. I'm gonna go ahead and pray, because I just was like, there was a lot, and there was a lot in there, and some of it was like, that subliminal, cryptic imagery, symbolism stuff, and I was like, hey Lord, we still cool, right? This was just research because I got a host. I was just looking to see what this is to talk about. So, like, I'm like you, Jay, like, careful about what it is that I consume. And to the people, like, they said the video, and I didn't even look at the views when I looked at it. I looked at it once. That's all. I'm good on that. But it had like 30-something million views, and I'm like, a lot of people watch this, right? But you know how views work. Somebody probably watched it more than once, and then they hated it, and then they shared it to somebody else. They hated it, and I'm like, if you don't like this kid, if you don't like that he's gay, if you don't like anything that he's doing, stop looking at him. Stop talking. You know what I mean? Like, is it that? Like, why are we in that space now? Like, is it that hard? Like, if you don't like Ty Davis as a comedian, if you think I'm not funny,
hate him.
You
hate him.
Well, if you think I'm not.
Or best was like, I've never heard of you.
Don't follow, right? Like, just don't subscribe to. And then people are like, oh, you need to cancel such and such. How can I cancel something that I don't subscribe to? Like, I can't cancel you if I'm already, like, I'm not a fan. I don't follow. I just don't. I don't know. How did we get here?
I got a thing. So this is the thing I said on my show, Blurs in the Hood earlier. What you listen to, I ain't got a bother with. Plain and simple. Lil Nas X got his whole thing. He know what he do, right? Just like you said, I don't have to subscribe to it. But at the end of the day, we're in this industry and this machine where controversy creates cash. And like you said, that shit got 30 million views. And most of them will probably hate views. But also, we live in a 24-hour news cycle. So unless people keep talking about it, we'll keep talking about it. But let nobody say nothing about it. We ain't talking about it. Just think about it. Tekashi 6ix9ine, every time he pop up and do something, it's only because we say some shit about it consistently that it stays in there. Then he dies out and nobody thinks about it until he does some other stupid shit. When it comes to Lil Nas X, he know what he doing. He know there's going to be a group of people that's going to stick up for him and everything, but at the same time, there's a group of people that's going to hate him no matter what. And because of that, again, because of the fact that we're in this day and age where as long as somebody talking about you is good. We're in this day and age of that. As long as somebody speaking about you is good, because people gonna keep reverencing. They're gonna have reverence to your name no matter what. And with Lil Nas X, again, I don't give a shit about the video. I'm like, I don't want to see it. It ain't for me. It's not for my kids, etc., etc. But when people like, oh, think about the kids and all this. Yeah, granted, as a shorty, we all can attest to this. We snuck and listened to shit we shouldn't have listened to. At the same time, there's a Group 3-6 Mafia. You know what I'm saying? There's shit with Bone Thugs and Harmony. But there's also a difference in what the imagery is, too. And because the imagery is put out like that, at the end of the day, we got to stop talking about it. I mean, it's gonna make waves regardless. You got churches. When we did the show, you got churches who made it a part of their sermon. These are super right-wing conservative churches who made it a part of their service to talk about Lil Nas X. The fact is, they were saying it to parents, but you got teenagers and young kids in the crowd, and guess what they do right after the service is done? Let me go see this video. You just keep it going.
I mean, this is the point. If you think about it, last week, I hosted Zoom with homies last week, and what was last week's news? Derek Jackson and his wife and that whole thing. I haven't heard anyone say anything about him this week. We're talking about Lil Nas X and the Beelzebub 11s. Next week, well, it could even be tomorrow. Something will happen, and we're on that. So it's like we really just have to wait for something else to happen. And let's be clear to the people in the comments. A lot of things have happened. I'm seeing a lot of the comments, and there are certain things that I am not entertaining this evening. I don't want to make any comments. I don't believe that all my opinions should be vocalized, and I don't want to put any of the panel in a situation where I just don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, go hit me up.
But
I don't mind the situations. I'm already in deep. So let me just say this. I agree with Jay. What Jay was spoke Jay in terms of it being marketing and a lot of different things. Here's my issue. I don't have an issue with Lil Nas X because again he's a young man and I don't think he truly understands. Like I've been in Hollywood a long time. I've seen a lot of different things that the average person who has an opinion has no idea about. And so you have to understand, like, my biggest issue was with Nike. Even though they came out, and said something later, they can control a lot more than people give them credit for. And so, for instance, if somebody came out with, now, I don't have an issue. If they came out, they said it, so I'm good, I'm done with it. But in the beginning, I was like, dude, do I have to boycott my closet? Because I got a lot of Nike. And it's just like, if somebody came out with the Niggarachi's spelled nigger 9s, that shit would have been shut down. There would have been a march. And
I'd have had some of those. I'd have got, fuck that.
Have you seen the color scheme on them Nigarachis though? Oh,
dealing with blacks, right? Or gays, which I don't think this is a gay issue. But say, for instance, somebody came out with fag 4s.
Good Lord.
Right? There would be another march. Right? People ain't playing with certain groups. And that's not, I'm black. I can say anything I want to say, right? So black people, Nigarachi, march. Gays, march. There would be anything. But when we talk about Satan, everybody says we should just skip past it. And that's my issue. We don't skip past certain things because what you don't understand about bloodline, and I get it, it's Hollywood, man. Everybody, you got to keep your career. But what you don't understand about bloodline, right, there's a spiritual world that people don't realize there is.
You got some tall.
Okay? And when you put human blood in the shoes, it's not just about the name of it. There's something that happens. And most people don't believe in it, and so it's fine, but there's something that happens when that happens. And so that's why you have people out here trying to protest it. So when I say Nigarachis or whatever, you know what I mean, or say fag 4s, I'm talking in a sense of there are certain things you don't play with. And if you get behind a certain, I don't care. I'm a comic. I'm a real, like it's real. And this is what people really think. You don't mess with certain groups. There will be consequences, is what I'm saying. And as a comic, I'm saying that, and intelligent people will get what I'm saying. There are consequences. Just like you don't mess with us. If you say the Nigarachi 9s, it's funny how everybody's cool with saying Nigarachi. That's funny. But it's a certain thing we have in society now that there's certain words you can't say. Because you've been conditioned that nigger is okay, but that's not. And Satan is okay,
Because we
but that's
niggas.
not. No, but it doesn't matter. We call each other that, but nobody is actually. Nobody's actually that.
Well, I subscribe to the word nigga with the A.
I do too. I say it all the time.
I'm about to say, Aaron, come on, nigga, you talk to me like that.
No, I'm saying I say it, but you're not. I don't actually when I say nigga, I don't think you're a nigger, Jay. You understand? So I'm making a point.
He just like, what is going on?
In this country that you do not mess with. Why is it okay then to bring out these segments?
I didn't know I had that.
Not with Lil Nas X. I don't think I have nothing to do with him being gay. I don't know why that even came up. It has more to do with the fact that how bold, like Jay was saying, Jay Washington, how bold the imagery is. And if you have children and you understand that he's had Old Town Road and all these things that I personally like, and that all these children are looking at, he has their ear, and you can't protect your children. You can. You don't have babies though right now. And that imagery you saw.
Hold on.
Let me hear.
First of all, I'd like to say, Jay Phillips, I love your background scenery, and I love how you're switching the hats and all of that stuff. What I will say is because I am 5 minutes past my time when I want to do the mess. What I will say is that the celebrities and people and whoever is
stupid.
Got smacked.
I'm mad that I don't know how to do that.
That's funny.
Okay?
Oh, shit. You're the host. No. Hold on, Ty. You're the host. Tell me if you understand what I was trying to say.
I hear what you're saying, and your feelings are valid.
Not feelings. Do you understand what I'm saying? Not trying to down someone. Do you understand it?
Hold on. What I was gonna say is because there was something that I did want to address where Lil Nas X, he has the fan base and all of that, and some people's kids love him.
This is getting disastrous.
I unequivocally, absolutely, 100% do not subscribe to these celebrities having responsibility for me raising my children.
I agree with that, for sure.
So I'm not going to say, Lil Nas X, you're a bad role model to my 17-year-old. No, ma'am. No, sir. It's my responsibility to monitor and what it is that they consume. So that was the only thing that I really wanted to...
But again, your kids are
17
and how old?
17 and 26, but they weren't always that age because that's not how babies work.
Like...
Jay's point, the imagery now compared to what it was when we were children and your children were children, it's a totally different thing, and the access is different. So what I'm saying is not for me. My 6 and 3-year-old ain't watching none of that. But you're
his
having
demographic.
people, like you said, that are like Jay was saying, that are talking about it because they're 13 and 10-year-olds are now looking, and it is the parents' job. It's the parents' job to go on.
Please, Jess.
Can we move on? My throat is dry.
What y'all looking at?
It's really dry.
So, I hear what you said, Aaron. Your feelings are valid.
You just went to therapy for real. I love it. Yeah, I love it.
So, yeah. But now it's time for messy. I mean, this was a little bit messier than I
It was more messy.
But, so I was doing some mess. Between, which I think this is the oddest beef. I don't know. Maybe I feel like this is an odd beef. But, Michael Rappaport and Kevin Durant are exchanging words with one another. Were you guys aware of this? There's some drama and some messiness.
Michael Rappaport be putting down text messages. I'm like, yo, when did you niggas get this cool? I think a lot of people have had this thing with Michael Rappaport where we like, yo, you stick up with people, but sometimes you step over the line a little bit and be like, I can't rate me. Like, we remember you from High Learning, nigga, you shot Tyra Banks. Like, calm down, nigga, like.
Hey, yo, that is hilarious, by the way. That was hilarious. But the two people involved with the beef is odd to me. Michael Rappaport is an actor and stand-up comedian. And Kevin Durant And listen, I don't want nobody coming for me. I don't want to. Hey, I don't know a lot about the basketball. I know that I know
Basketball.
I know that Jay Phillips, he's from Seat Pleasant, which is round on okay.
We both PG County, absolutely.
I don't know who he played for now, but I know that he played a basketball. I know that. What in the hell is Kevin Durant and Michael Rappaport? They literally are arguing screenshots. Lawyers have gotten called.
Lawyers.
And apparently it's because Kevin Durant did an interview after a game or something, and I guess the reporters were kind of getting on. I don't really know, because I didn't care, child. I just thought screenshots were funny because Michael Rappaport put out the screenshots of Kevin Durant basically calling him all kinds of names and going at him in his DMs or text messages. What is happening?
Call him a piece of shit. Cocksucker of the men for attention. He told him to go suck a dick. Look, he said, call him all types of things. Basically, Kevin Durant keep getting mad because his hairline won't grow in Phil, so he got to take that shit out on somebody. Like, you know what I'm saying? You ain't seen this nigga say, no, Kevin Durant shit.
I thought Kevin Durant had a hairline. It was just
that shit. That nigga shit keep getting traded to teams with him. Like, he go to another team and the part of his hairline stay there. Like, now he in Brooklyn and
Stop the joke.
So he plays for the Who's?
He's on the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not his hairline. It's just
It's just in here. It's like in the middle of this.
Don't even try.
One of the great basketball players of all time. He don't give a fuck about his hairline.
All time.
He moving. He don't give a shit about none of that.
Nigga
It's like, yeah, check ball, nigga. You want to talk about my hair? Check ball, nigga. What's up?
Nigga, for years, we made LeBron wear a headband. We're so niggas that tell LeBron, hey, bro, we get it. We know. We see this shit.
Why? But see, and to your earlier point, or to someone's earlier point, why would he need a unit if he's a great basketball player? Okay. Now I don't know what position he plays, but I know he's really good. And the reason I know he's really good is because I know the name. When I hear it, I know the name, and I have a mental picture of what he looks like. And my little nephew Isaiah knows all the basketball people, and he taught me some stuff about basketball. He's like 8 or 7. I'm not a really good auntie, but I know that I love and but I just thought it was so. I don't know about anybody else, but I've been in situations where someone has come for my neck. Maybe, I mean, not famous obviously because I'm not famous, but someone has come for my neck, and I just was like, oh wow, that's what they're over there doing. That's what they're saying. That's crazy. People have tagged me into it, like, yo, you see what such and such says, and I was like, hey man, they arguing with themselves at this point. I'm not doing that over there. The number of screenshots that is going on between these two, like at this point, can y'all just square up and fight? Like he literally
yeah, just square up and fight.
would you any of
Let me look this up.
Yeah, it's pretty. I had to pull my computer out.
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm reading the screenshot, so this is what Kevin Durant, so Michael Rappaport put it on his blog at IG.
Yeah, Michael Rappaport put the screenshots out.
He told him, he said, go help. So Michael Rappaport told him, he said, go help kids in Bronzeville, Brooklyn to stop being a fucking putz. Kevin Durant went in, was like, you a bitch. You ain't even care about how I do interviews. All you do is cocksuck other men for attention.
Good
Trump
Lord.
didn't pay attention to your sorry ass, so now you want to use everybody else to get views. He said, your life is a joke, you fucking pale cocksucker. You piece of shit.
damn.
All of that?
Get it. And voicemail? No, nigga, these are the words of
These are the words.
like Kevin Durant is going on Twitter and shit.
And all of this stuff.
That's stupid funny.
Lawyers and stuff about, these are 2 grown men, by the way. Grown-up adult men arguing on the computer phone.
He get it through the wrong account because normally he talks shit through a burner account. That shit got exposed a while back.
That shit is hilarious though. I pulled it up, and then here's what comes up on the headlines: Kevin Durant calls Michael Rappaport a pale, cum guzzling, pasty bitch. That's a headline, nigga.
That's ridiculous.
Look at that, that's the whole headline.
Oh shit! Let me click here and see what it says.
Why the hell
yesterday. That was your.
I know I went Mike Tyson for some reason. I don't know. But it's hard. I went hard. But it's like Michael Rappaport always has to try to find a way to say he goes in on everything, and sometimes people don't pay him no attention. Kevin Durant basically was one of the people that was like, I got time, and you got the right one.
I'll tell you what, just because.
So my question is: so is it wrong of Kevin Durant for like saying, you know what, I got time today, cuz, or should he have taken the high road? And
so what did it? So what started it? What party? Michael Rappaport said what to him that said that?
Okay, so this is what happened. Kevin Durant was playing a basketball game against somebody.
Don't you say basketball one more again, goddamn. That goddamn name. That's a basketball. Stop doing that. Men. Come on now.
Okay. So Kevin Durant was playing a game of basketball against some other team that I have no idea who that was.
Sure.
After the basketball game, to which I believe his team lost that game, he was at a press conference and the sports people were asking him questions. And one of the questions that Kevin Durant did not like the question. Maybe the question was difficult for him to answer. Whatever the case is, Michael Rappaport then went to his computer phone and he started to make a series of videos and tweets and comments about how Kevin Durant should have just did the interview or stop being a bitch and answer the questions or not or blah, 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 blah.
So that's an important part of it. Thank you. That's what I was trying to get to. So now, if man to man, you kind of cross all lines and all bets are off. Once you say to another man that you are a bitch, once you do that,
That's over.
That means you pretty much can. That's the first punch. A lot of times you call a man a bitch, and it ain't hit you. So
Okay,
I'm just saying, if that's what the case is, then all right, cool, he can go all in. But I listen to Michael Rappaport all the time. I really do. I know Mike. I know Mike. I know him better than I know KD. KD from my neighborhood, but I still know Mike better than I know KD. So Mike talked that shit about everybody every day. It don't matter who it is, black, white, gray. This motherfucker is an asshole to the whole world, and that's his gig. Yeah. That's what he does, and that's what he does on stage. That's what he does in movies. That's what he does in real life. He plays a big version of himself. So,
see, I didn't know that.
Okay. Yeah. All of that ain't nothing to me. All that probably that's the same shit. He used to that. That's what he do. He probably didn't expect to get all of the smoke come back.
That's what he does.
Outside of the airport, he always does that.
Always. Okay. I saw him in the airport, was going to go up to him, just be like, hey, man, I appreciate you. I'm going to comment. The way he was talking to his girl, but it was just normal banter, like from where he's from.
That's how we talk.
I was like, I'm good. He was rough.
So we got mid in on him.
Yeah, that's him. So I'm shocked that he would take offense to what KD was,
I think it's like Jay just said, Jay Phillips just said, he didn't think he was going to catch that smoke like that. He didn't think it was gonna come back like you just said. If you talk shit this much and everybody like, oh, that's just what he do. That's just what they do. But somebody come back and like, oh, you thought this was a game? And then
if you look at the screenshots, like Kevin Durant, there's periods where Michael Rappaport isn't even saying anything, and Kevin Durant
just still going at him.
And I'm like, and of course I don't know him, but Kevin Durant, like, I don't know if he plays basketball the way that he was talking to this man, these screenshots, but it was very aggressive. And I'm gonna.
The answer to that is yes.
He does.
Yes.
buckets. All three of us was like, yeah.
Do you watch basketball? Like, because I don't.
Bro, I don't watch football. I don't watch baseball. I don't watch basketball. I don't watch a dribble, a playoff, nor an all-star game.
I don't see no
cry, okay?
What do you do all day?
Anything else.
2 million people on
But you know, I'm a big proponent of, first of all, two things I have to say. Why is Michael Rapport always in black people business? Is it because of sports? I don't know what he do, but the second thing I have to say is I'm a big proponent of not addressing people who come at you if there's no need to address them. So if that's Michael's personality, I don't know why Kevin Durant even addressed him. If he's like a piece of shit, then that's something you step over. So why are you even responding to him anyway?
He was probably smoking an L and was just like, man, this would be funny. Like,
I don't know how I want to.
Somebody get you. It's just like, you know, as comics, you've been in that situation before to where you put somebody up against the ropes and you got everybody laughing at them, and that shit turned from all right, you got hey, man, when I ain't gonna be no more. You know, so I'm imagining that's what happened. Because that energy just, it builds in you to where you just seeing everybody looking and shit. And
Defensive wise,
so maybe that's what just
I
happened.
think these guys are just too slow now.
This should be done in a couple days. He threatened to beat his ass. That's what niggas from my area do. When you fuck around.
He definitely does.
they got reach too.
It's in there. It's in the comments. There's PG County. That's
PG. Yep.
That's PG County shit. Don't talk that shit.
Oh wait, hold, because I wasn't paying attention to the comments. So even though I'm now in PG County School, I am in Maryland, and like I said, DC and Baltimore are cousins. So don't come for us unless we send for you. That's one. And two, it's 11:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which means that we are nearing the close of this episode of Zooming with the Homies. So, first, of course, I want to say I think you're all amazing. I don't know. I know Jay, you've been on before. Devin, you know the drill. Aaron or Mr. J, have you guys done Zooming with the Homies before?
Nah, this is the first time for me on it. This is my first time.
She's gorgeous, buddy. What are you talking about? You're a fucking coward. That's what you are. Man, it's so swole, man. I'm just
Trying to figure out what I'm going to do, man. I'm really torn.
But she got me because when I first seen her face, I'm like, man,
I feel like I want to utilize linebackers more.
Shout out to @JimFreakGen1. You're beautiful, baby. Yeah. I don't want you to think I dislike you. You know, we can be friends. Put on the right glove, I'll let you give me a hand job. It's got to be a glove that softened the blow, though. It can't be.
When they get in the putting the motherfucking headlock, you should see it in person.
It's got to be a padded glove, nigga, with a cum release. So when I come and make her let my shit go, she might make. That's the same word.
96.
She might shoot me back in me if I let her keep her grip. She on swole, man. She's beautiful though, but a lot of them. Couple of them real buff niggas got on my head. I just want to let y'all know this ain't beef. I'm a comedian. Linguistics, comedy is words.
96.
Words are my art, man. So don't think that it's personal. I talk about myself every day, all day.
Oh yeah,
You know
I'm about to get a power up pass at 87, right? Or am I tripping?
I'm out here judging. If I see something that makes me laugh a little bit on the inside, I'm gonna bring it up. You know what I'm saying? I read an article today. Y'all see that Dennis Rodman article?
Base
He was
offense.
talking about how he used
Base.
to smash chicks on the floor of what's this stadium they play in Chicago? He used to smash chicks on the floor of the United Center, like on the basketball court. I believe it. You know what I'm saying? I believe it. And I thought that was amazing, bro. And it just made me think, man. I think there needs to be a new classification of a woman's status in this country, because right now we have single and we have married, right? But I think prostitute needs to be a status. You feel what I'm saying? Because
He did not just say that.
classified as either single or married, they want respect. You know, that's one of the number one things they want. But a prostitute wants money.
I'm gonna try out some
Any
gun
woman that'll
bunch.
do anything for money, including getting smashed on a basketball court, is not like all the other women. When I say the word bitch, these are the type of bitches I'm talking about.
Oh man.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, this chick is
Did
married
not know
to the
we
game,
was in the
nigga. She had
playoffs.
a, if she went to labor, she'd be having a ball, nigga. She's married to the game. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? When
Yeah,
you go on a date
offense.
with this bitch, a referee should be present, nigga. So if you do something foul, like tell a bitch that's married to the game you love her, nigga, they can call it technical on you. Like this bitch is in uniform, nigga. What are you doing? You're out of here, buddy. Some of these chicks are married to the game, and there's nothing wrong with that. But in life, we have classifications so people can know. Because look, you don't get a chance to get to know everybody on a personal level. So when a motherfucker tells you what they do, that's a symbolism. If I'm a pilot, or if I'm a police officer, or a firefighter, or a lawyer, that's symbolism that's supposed to give me a summary just off the title of what you do, of who you are and what you stand for. Because you can't give everybody the whole rundown, so your title won't give them the rundown. You feel what I'm saying? So we need that prostitute classification so some of these square niggas can stop fucking the game up. They fucking the game up, man. So my question to y'all is this. How can we teach regular everyday men to tell the difference between a regular woman, single or married, as her status, and a hoe? Because a lot of people think hoes are walking up and down the street. You know what I'm saying? They think it's obvious. You know what I'm saying? How can we teach these young brothers to find out the difference between a hoe and a regular woman? The lines got blurred through Instagram, man. I'm telling you, this shit is a whole lot more difficult. Because they be like, oh, I'm a nurse, and it be true. Yeah, right. But that trip to Miami, she's a nurse hoe now. So it's tough. Right. How do you figure it out? How do you figure out the difference goes between a regular everyday woman and a woman?
Yeah, I didn't put any abilities on.
It's pretty much as if the way she acts, how I spend money, the way her reaction to how I spend money. You know, that can show me something. If you, let's say, if I take you out, and I might order something expensive, whatever. You over here, being giddy and ordering you got it like that. Right. Just show it, like, just if you can't, it's a certain thing, certain shit she gonna do or say that's gonna let me out. She in my pockets. Let me go. Yeah. Let me head out. So I'm not dealing with no prostitutes. I'm telling you that right now.
No, go ahead.
You gotta stop thinking with your dick too, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what's gonna get you in trouble first and foremost. Cause you're not gonna look at nothing else. You gonna look at some ass, titties. You got pretty face. Oh, she want to talk to me. That's 90% of the shit. Niggas get embarrassed and talk to pretty women. So when they do say something, whatever I gotta do to keep her. So that's what I need $80. You know what I'm saying? So they not gonna look at it like that. You know what I mean? They not looking at it like, oh well, she's a hoe. Nah, she just needs something, my nigga. I know her. She's going through something. Her bills just keep coming up. You know what I'm saying? It's the way that you ask me for that $80 in this last. Like, I just met you yesterday. All of a sudden, damn, I'm doing too bad. I need to pay that. Yeah. If you never met me, you still would have that problem. So. Right. Yeah. You ain't had no If you ain't got a solution for an $80 problem, ladies, you don't need to. Fuck it. Yeah. You don't need to fuck me. Yeah, for real. How do you tell the difference between a woman that's a regular woman, a prostitute? One way is a manly woman drops her kids off at school every day. What do you mean by manly woman? A lot of times women will date manly women, because they want to get a uterus break. They're tired of fucking and getting pregnant. So they'll go in a 2 or 3 year pussy hiatus.
Good Lord.
You know what I'm saying? Just a pussy halftime. So they can still nut, so pussy can be tended to, but not have the responsibility of falling under the tutelage of a man. You feel me? Because with another woman, I'm not saying in every case, because I know some stomp down studs. I know some studs that got knuckles like niggas. You feel what I'm saying? But in most cases, a lesbian relationship is like just two partners fucking, and they ain't really no accountability. You know what I'm saying? They ain't really no accountability. But there's consequences when they fuck a man. Like, you can get pregnant. Yeah. It's a higher gravity situation in some cases. Not all. I know I sound ignorant. Like some accountability, though.
It happens. That's real shit, though.
Hey, Doug, real quick. A nigga said Brandon built like a sandbag. Bro, that's funny. I couldn't hold it in. That's just hilarious. It's a sandbag.
That's what man said. Man, hit us with the green for dozy, man.
Well, who's the guy next to me?
He came in after Doze. I wish that nigga would say something about Doze.
Man, let's go.
Who is he?
We're about to get to it in a minute, man.
I thought he was just letting niggas in.
Niggas that he didn't pick. He think he the only motherfucker that know how to make friends and shit. Nigga, I'm 5 years older, nigga. I know what I'm doing when it comes to friends, nigga. I've been making friends since 19. My first friend was 85. My first friend that I remember was like 85, 86. And that's Derek. Derek, he's been on the show. That was my first friend. I met him in church, man. What's up, big bro? Love you, man.
You're a preacher.
Nah. But you know, church. No, it was a non-denominational church when they be speaking that Bone Thugs and Harmony when they feel the spirit. Hey, but real quick,
bro. Dozy is here, y'all. Che Buqueno.
Hey.
Yeah, so Brandon, before you met your lovely wife, man, and you picked a winner, how were you able to tell the difference between a woman that is a good everyday woman who can classify as either single or married, and a woman that's a prostitute? Because what I'm saying is there should be another classification status for women. We have single, married, but I think prostitute needs to be a classification. How were you able to tell the difference?
Well, I mean, I put it back to myself as what I'm more willing to do with the person.
Right.
Is basically the energy I'm putting out. So if it's like niggas is fucking with hoes, you're gonna get a different character than what I'll, you know what I'm saying? Like than what I would do with somebody that I care about, that I like or whatever. And then it goes off of the person's character. So if her character was, if I'm like willing to, show a different side of me, whatever, and then you over here just wanting to get some money or something like that, then we have an issue.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the energy has to meet, but you'll get a different demeanor from me, and then what I hope is that the other person will have to have a different demeanor as well. If you're still on that same type of time, like, oh, you're gonna think you can rook me,
Right.
Like, oh, I'm about to, this nigga about to give me X, Y, Z. Like, you ain't gonna get that.
And that's the reason for the classification, is so there's no deception.
But that classification has to be an addition. Because just because you married,
Don't mean
you're not a prostitute.
Okay, so that's where we need a code. We've been talking about brothers breaking the code because there's a lot of conscious black folks out here that are always talking about us code breaking. But we don't really have a written code. So I feel like we need to have a code that says exactly what a prostitute is and the addendums to that, what they could be in addition. Because right now, if we go on street code, a prostitute is technically a woman that is selling pussy in exchange for finances. Or a woman that is using deceit through her pussy or in conjunction with her pussy to get what she wants from a man. You know what I'm saying? Because personally, I feel like the amount of
man
sex
said,
don't make
in
you a prostitute.
conjunction.
Even though hoe and a prostitute is two different things. It's the deception.
What's the difference?
Well, a prostitute uses deceit. A pimp teaches a prostitute that, hey, when you go in and you fucking with a trick, grab everything that ain't tied down. And whatever you got to tell a motherfucker to get a few dollars out of them, go ahead and do that. Because we're here for the bread. Everything else is secondary. And if you can get what you can from them without fucking, then do that. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of motherfuckers weird that's picking up prostitutes and not even fucking them. They just talking to them. Or...
Yeah, it's like they don't want to go to therapy.
Right.
Plus, prostitute. And they know that's a prostitute. You know what I'm saying? A prostitute is, you're picking her up for that reason. You know what I'm saying? There's no really like hiding who she is, but
a promiscuous woman, the difference between a prostitute and a promiscuous woman is that a promiscuous woman, she just likes to have a lot of sex. It ain't nothing wrong with that.
Still got inside stuff on Chase.
That's if her mind is in the right space and she's making a conscious decision that is not derived from pain, like pain and hurt, like being molested or trying to get back at somebody. She's just fucking because she likes to fuck. She ain't no prostitute. She's just a woman that loves sex. Sexually.
Why didn't they let me click on him?
Promiscuous woman would just be
I wouldn't even call her a hoe because that would be disrespectful. Because
That's what I was thinking.
yeah, I'm on the receiving end of a lot of hoes.
Any other time they
I
would have
get
clicked me
blessed a
on
lot
to
with
the
pussy, and
inside
I
guy.
appreciate it. So I don't want a woman that's, if you fucking a lot of niggas and you thinking about fucking me, I'm not talking to you.
You ain't the one we talking.
I'm talking to the woman that would tell me, I want to classify the women that would tell a man whatever they have to tell him to get whatever they want from you. A woman that you can't even turn your back on because she might grab everything that ain't tied down. Those are the women I feel like need to classify into the category of prostitute.
Women that fake pregnant. Get the $500 for the abortion.
Prostitute.
Get a bag or something. You know what I'm saying?
Because we could both game. You know what I'm saying? If I know you're a prostitute and we doing business, now I can put you on my taxes, bitch, and you can put me on yours.
Square business.
You could be an expense. You know what I'm saying? I could be an expense. Why we got to do the same Europeanized version of the relationship complex? Why can't we just remold that into
That was 100% my fault.
closer to
100% my fault.
now I can't be mad if I see those fucking the bitch. Now, this bitch is at work.
Yeah.
I don't want to bother her while she's at work. No,
You always go to me with that.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's okay. I got it. You on your lunch. On your lunch. On your lunch.
If we had laws, it's supposed to make shit simpler. The law is supposed to make things simple. That's what it's there for. You know what I'm saying? Now, people's interpretation of the law, that's different. And that's what we're going to get into in this next segment, man. I have an esteemed guest. And I know Brandon's going to love this dude once he figures out who he is. Man, please introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are, man.
Thank you. First of all, thanks, Craig, for having me on the show. You know, it's a pleasure to be here. I am Jaye Person Lynn. I'm an abolitionist who makes a living as an attorney, specifically criminal defense. And I'm born and raised in Southern California, HBCU graduated. Shout out to Hampton University and Howard University School of Law. Came back.
I gotta
home,
learn.
served my community,
I gotta learn this playbook. I'm mad that I decided to do this in a playoff game, but
currently being on probation.
Okay, we'll cut that. Let's go to the tape. I want y'all to take a look at this tape, man. This is very important.
what about to say? I just heard something probation.
You remember this case, man, because we talked about it extensively. It's not social hour with the clerk. We gotta figure out what you're doing here. You can step out. Step out. I'm not gonna step out. Available rubber and services. You cannot approach the clerk. In Department 7. Yeah, that's the rules of the court. Do you see that? Do not approach the clerk. Okay. Okay. So step out and then you have to outside. Talk to me and approach the clerk. Well, tell the clerk I'm gonna talk to him. Sir, step out. Step out.
What is going on? So we're gonna have a problem.
Everything I have, everything I learned.
Like, what happened?
Man, make sure y'all smash that like button, man. So look, man, a lot of times people think, because I go to school, I get educated, I do the right thing, that things are gonna be fair and work out for me because I'm a good person and I'm doing right and I'm just living, and going to church and all that stuff. They think that doing the right thing is enough in life. How did this situation change your perspective? Let's go. First of all, let's go. Before you got to court, what were you expecting from court? Were you expecting to be disrespected that day?
No, not at all. I mean, I know the possibility of disrespect is always out there. I'm descendant of enslaved Africans in the United States of America. So, the foundation of this nation, the founding document is a Declaration of Independence, even before the Constitution.
Right.
And in that document, the main person credited for writing it held hundreds of our ancestors as enslaving them while he wrote, "All men are created equal."
Thomas Jefferson.
Yes, endowed with certain inalienable rights, amongst them life, liberty, and property. Now, in that statement, most people gloss over it, but this situation and others is what let me know what that meant. When you said all men are created equal while holding my ancestors as slaves, you're saying I'm not a man. I'm not a human being.
Well, let's go into that because in the law it also
That ain't the regular space, and I was
Yeah, that was a concept, and that's
but
just in case
yeah, okay.
Declaration
I'm still learning Bunch. I tried Bunch earlier this year, and it just wasn't for me.
Constitution wasn't ratified by the last state until like 1783 or something. So a few years later, they had to take some time to figure it all out, and everybody agree on it. But the agreement was that okay, they're 3/5 of persons. And I argue today that's about the amount of rights we actually have. I would agree. About 3/5 of the rights. Like we're supposed to have a right against unreasonable search and seizure, but as you saw in the video, whenever an officer grabs you, you're seized. Right. So I got seized unreasonably because he didn't believe I was who I had already told him I was.
Right.
Didn't care to ask. We don't have the time to really break down the video, but before he pushes me, I reach in my right back pocket because that's where I keep my wallet with my bar card, and I was gonna show them because I've been disbelieved before, but no one has gotten violent with me. And so when he got violent, that threw me off in the moment. And looking back hindsight, maybe after he got violent, I should have just pulled out the bar card. Hey, I'm an attorney. But in that situation, I was discombobulated. I was in a state of disbelief to a certain degree. I won't be anymore. Now I know my true status in this nation. But
second, three things to my watchers. So I want to dumb this down because I know it's a motherfucker out there thinking inalienable. They had UFOs. In Thomas Jefferson time. This nigga's not talking about Martians. Inalienable rights are supposed to be a right that you have that no one can alienate you from. It's supposed to be attached to you as a person, and it's basically supposed to be, leverage. So I'm an American citizen, and I have inalienable rights. But what we're outlining today is how that is not fact. You feel
well, it is fact for those that it's for.
Right.
Yeah.
Protestant white males.
That's what we have to realize, and so that's what it boiled down to that day. And I was there. I did not have a case on calendar. The San Bernardino District Attorney's Office doesn't give initial discovery like police reports and whatnot at the arraignment.
One second, too. San Bernardino County is also the county where a rogue shooter shot his way into a public building, killed several people. What was this, about 3-4 years ago? Right, so it's the same. That's the same county. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's also the same county where officers were seen on video. They were pursuing a guy on a horse. They ran up to him and kicked his face like they were doing a kickoff in a football game.
Right.
And those officers ultimately got like a misdemeanor battery charge, and can still be police officers.
It's also the Section 8 capital of the world. Yes, it is. Football jersey sales that are all-time high in San Bernardino. Fat farm jackets with the big red jackets.
All of that.
Don't know why I did that.
San Bernardino is like, I'm trying to figure out other states, cities that are comparable to San Bernardino. So like Muskegon, East St. Louis, Illinois. It's a city like that. It's Spartanburg. It's nothing to play with, brothers. California is a city where everybody
he got somebody
trying to find cheaper rent. This is like where they land. So it's killers and all types of dysfunctional shit happening in San Bernardino.
Few snitches.
Right. So the demographic to set the tone is a little bit different. So the policing, even though most policing is racist, in San Bernardino, they're dealing with a different type of demographic. I say the word again. So they wouldn't be used to a brother coming in qualified and being a lawyer. They're used to seeing brothers in chains and getting locked up. So go ahead.
And they have and see, the thing is, I was going to pick up Discovery. I did go pick up the Discovery, met with my client, and then I was asking about the process of changing a date in hopes that I wouldn't have to, because the date got set at the initial arraignment, and I was hoping I wouldn't have to come back or send somebody to change that next date. And so that's all I was asking about. And when I ultimately did it, it took about 3 minutes to get done. Now, that's why I was not dressed. I left my home that day. I called the court and said, hey, how do I do this? They said, well, you need to go to the clerk's office. So I had no expectation of being inside of a courtroom that day. It's always a possibility, but I had no expectation. And when attorneys like myself don't go to court, we're typically not in suits. That's just, and I've earned the right, or at least I thought I did, to dress how I want to dress. And what I had on, it was an African print shirt. They had dashiki print, handmade from the finest West African cottons in the Gambia. Some red pants and some camouflage, like moccasin-style shoes. And so when I went to the clerk's office, they sent me to the courtroom. I go in the courtroom, get a call. As I'm walking,
I don't know why I'm trying to do Dash and Dead Eyes.
Doesn't stop me. The guy walks up, and there's no audio on this. He says, hey, do I know you? I say, nah, but I'm here to talk to the clerk about one of my cases. He says, well, you got to go back there. I ask why. He says, because you're not an attorney. I say, well, I am an attorney. Then he says, well, you need to talk to her. That's when you see me go turn and talk to the bailiff, which, so I'm complying, right? She says, before I say anything, she says, sir, you see that bar? Only attorneys can pass that bar. I say, I am an attorney. We have back and forth. She's telling me if I don't have a case on calendar, I need to go to the clerk's office. I reach in my pocket to get my bar card. That's when he pushes me. So when the audio starts, you hear her saying, sir, if you don't have a case on calendar, you need to go to the clerk's office. And I say, I went there. They told me to come here. That's when I go back like, look, I'm an attorney. I'm an officer of the court, thinking if I use these kind of words, maybe they'll believe me. And it just got to that point where she showed me a sign that says, don't approach the clerk, check in with the bailiff. But that sign is for defendants. This is a misdemeanor courtroom, so there's like 50 cases a day in this courtroom. So that's not for attorneys. And the way we know that, while you're watching the video, while they're telling me I can't go to the clerk's office, the DA, who has the same credential I have as an attorney, walks through the well of the court and approaches the clerk. So that's proof attorneys can do what I was trying to do. But when they had me go out into the vestibule, in my mind at that moment, it was like,
what? So somebody out there is watching, and they like,
Why the fuck did he go investigate? Nah, I'm just saying, we gotta dumb it down. I got you. So, what the hell is the vestibule? The vestibule is the little area. I learned the word from this case, but it's a little area in between the hallway and the courtroom. It's a little area. There's usually like a court reporter's room, and then another little room where attorneys can interview their clients and whatnot. So that's what's in there, but there's no cameras, and the door was open when I walked in.
I'm trying to get,
the bailiff closed
but maybe
and you also see
because
he
it
already
is.
had it in his mind to tase me because his taser was out while I was just talking to the other bailiff. So I give her the officer's name. Berry, Barrie, Paul Berry. Paul Berry, man. Yeah. Y'all know what to do. Yeah, and he's y'all know San Bernardino County Sheriff, and it's unique because he's never been in the field, right? And there's a reason for that. You work in custody for like 10 years in the court. There's a reason they don't send these guys out to the field because they know if he's doing this in the courtroom, we can't let him out because then it'll be too much. Yeah, so we go out, I give her the case number, and I look at him, and I'm like, man, you fucked up. You fucked up when you put your hands on me. And I promise you, she's like, sir, I give her the case number again. I lean over to see his name badge, and I spell it out, Barrie. I say, I promise I'm going to come after you with everything I have and everything I learned in law school. And he actually testified. He felt that I was going to follow through on he took that as a physical threat.
Exactly.
And that's why he had to tase me.
Hold on, what law school has he heard of where they teach you how to...
It's the karate law school I did.
Like, that is not what I was talking about, sir.
Kick-ass law school. Ain't no gun classes, ain't no karate classes, ain't none of that in law school. That's what he used to justify the tasing. And you know, he was supported, and this is how it works. When they talk about one bad apple spoils the bunch, so he did this, right? His own office should have reprimanded him, fired him, because you use deadly force. Which tasing, they say it's non-deadly, but you Google death by tasing, you'll see a whole lot of people that died from being tased. So he was willing to use deadly force against me for words that I was using against him. He had already been violent with me twice. I had not responded with violence. So that should have been noticed to him that I wasn't there on that kind of time. I just wanted him to have to hear these words since that was my get back. Right. But it was too much for him to take. And that's why you hear him say, you know, you don't threaten me. You know, just back up. Don't threaten me. Yeah. So he was trying to cover himself. Yeah, and he knew it wasn't a video, it was only an audio. Right. Now, the bailiff, the black woman, when she testified, she says, I was looking down, I heard the taser, and I looked up, he was in the same spot that he was in when I looked down. Right. So I'm saying I didn't approach this man. She's saying it, but this is a white man in a cop's uniform. Right. Remember, we 3/5. Yeah. So you me and her. Right. So we need one more person. Yeah. Maybe. Real good. So that's really what it boiled down to. Even when the judge sentenced me, she said, you know, there was a court reporter, and if you watch the video again, you'll see when I first walk in, she's looking at her phone. But she takes her version of it, wasn't even paying attention over the bailiff who testified. She said, when my attorney asked, would you say it was a friendly encounter up until the time he was pushed? She said yes. So the judge, when she sentences me, first of all, she compared her experience as a white woman to mine as a black man when it comes to discrimination. And secondly, she said that I was arrogant because I expected things.
That was steaming, boy. That was steaming.
Times at that point, I wasn't expecting anything different. Right. I'm an attorney. I'm there on business. It was an administrative matter, but it's still related to my case. Right. So I expected to be treated as such, regardless of how I'm dressed. And the thing about a San Bernardino, their rules on attire is closed-toe shoes, no shorts.
I gotta keep them scared.
So I was within the dress code. Right. And now it's funny. I went back to that court. It was a brother who was practicing. He had on some Levi's, some Air Maxes, and a
black and blue and white Pendleton. And like a blue rag as his
Oh wow!
as his
Oh, he was tripping. Huh?
So cuz can't. But I'm like, man,
On the dead homies.
On the dead homies.
On the dead homies.
That's
they
what
give
it
it.
was. I was like, man, but I just like that.
On the dead homies, he ain't dead because of the homies.
I'm telling you, man, I seen it with my own eyes, and then I seen another white dude. I went from near the rancho, seen a white boy in like a sweatsuit. It was flying on polo sweatshirt with the hoodie and the sweats.
Oh
And I'm like, also, COVID revealed everything that's like necessary and essential in our lives. So an attorney being in a suit is not essential to the practice of law.
Right.
So all the people that are like, oh, look at how you were dressed. It does not matter based on what I was trying to do that day. But I also have to know what Howard.
Oh, come on! How did I miss that?
Without a suit on, and now they looking like, nigga, this is what I told you.
Yeah.
You are
Come
an
on,
attorney,
man.
you a homeowner, and you did all that, and now, it just let me know what it really meant to be a descendant of enslaved Africans. Things that happened in the streets.
GG's. I just gave him the game with that play.
The courtroom as the one place in society where my credentials supersede that of law enforcement.
Right.
Because what I had to do to get that credential compared to what they had to do to get that credential. So inside this sanctuary, I'm superior. I'm now.
Better say we aggressive.
But when we're talking about the status of our work, I'm superior to everyone in there except the judge.
Right.
But this situation taught me, despite that, you is a nigga.
Right.
And that's what society will treat you as. And as long as, forget the Constitution, as long as the Declaration has 1776 as the date and all people are created equal, that means that status will remain in this country for us until that is abolished. And that's why I'm an abolitionist. I'm not for reform. Because we had reforms after 92. And things was cool for a few months. Then, it's like
GG's. I'm just trying to get my power up pass. I'm surprised I did that well in a bunch. I just got to get that post. Or maybe I need to make it a different post. I think that's just a man beating post. And not like a cover 3 beating post.
The only reason I'd be for reform is if it's a step
Still
on the path
not
to
there.
abolition. When I say that, I don't mean like there's parts of the system I think would still be helpful and fruitful in a new system, but that document needs to be put in a museum. Like, this is how we used to be.
Well, let's create context. One thing I want to talk about first. Most people think when you talk about being an abolitionist that you somewhere in the wilderness waiting on some slaves to run up so you can walk them to freedom. You are fighting for freedom, but it's a different kind of fight now. So tell people what exactly do you mean when you say you're a lawyer that's an abolitionist?
Well, one, and I'm an abolitionist who's a lawyer.
There we go.
But one, slavery per the 13th Amendment is still very much legal in 2021 in these United States of America. And this is why language and what we do is so important. It's a difference between a comma and a period. In the California Constitution, it says slavery shall not exist, period. Then there's another sentence that says involuntary servitude shall not exist except for punishment of a crime. But in the United States Constitution under the 13th Amendment, which is the first time slavery was mentioned by name in the Constitution, it was slavery nor involuntary servitude.
I don't know
except for
what I want.
For a crime.
Except the duly convicted of a crime.
Yeah. Now, that's slavery or involuntary servitude. What's the difference? Slavery is a permanent status. Voluntary servants is a temporary status.
Prison.
So, white people got convicted in the 1700s. They might have had to go in the field and work. But it was temporary. The slavery is a permanent status. And so, any descendant of enslaved African in the United States that's convicted of a crime can lawfully under the United States Constitution be made into a slave.
Okay, so as an abolitionist, what is your fight?
So my fight is to abolish the Declaration of Independence and all the symbols of white supremacy in this nation, including the flag, the Constitution, the national anthem. All of those things have to be abolished. They have to be taken away, put in a museum, say this is how we used to be. Right. And see and what we're doing and how that works.
I feel like that won't work on him as well as I would like it
But ultimately, my fight is not so much with the system, because the system is going to remain. It's with the people. Where people, white people in this country, have to see us as full-fledged citizens, right, that deserve everything they deserve. Right. When they do that, they'll get upset and get as mad as they get as when, like, you know, if I was a dog, right, and got tased by the cop, he would have had white people on his head.
Right. Two things. Now, you said a full citizen, which is very important. What people have to understand is how important voting was in that time. Voting was a representation of you having a say in this country at that particular time, especially local voting. So when they declared us 3/5 of a human, that was because the North had problems with the South because of the amount of slaves that existed. They actually would count slaves as citizens, and each individual state is granted electoral votes based on the amount of citizens it has in its state. So you get more voting power at the federal level if your state has 20 million people as opposed to a state that has 5 million. Yeah. So what the North did was they lobbied to have blacks counted as 3/5 of a human, so they would not be outnumbered when it came to their electoral status.
They lobbied for them not to be counted.
That's interesting.
At all, exactly. 3/5 was what the South
was what they compromised to. So please understand what that means, man, because voting to me now is somewhat of a joke. I know you may disagree with it now.
Not federally, locally, I still vote.
Yeah, federally voting is a joke. But at that time, when these laws were passed, having a vote was like having a gun. Yeah, it was power. You know what I'm saying? Because politicians at that particular time had to answer to people. Yeah. A nigga could knock on the mayor's door like, what the fuck you doing, bro? Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? So now that we don't have we can't hold them to the same semblance of accountability, because a lot of you have been tricked into classism, into thinking that the amount of money you make makes you a different person. That's one of the tricks that they use to open up the doors of a lot of the bullshit that he's going through. Okay. Now, it makes the fight as an abolitionist.
I wonder if I could get no outsiders.
Because now within our community, you have black people who think they're a different kind of black because they got bread. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? So let's talk about the difficulties of getting people of a certain status to understand that, you know what I'm saying, you still black,
okay.
nigga. Like,
and that's the thing, it's very difficult because people see that American flag and anybody can go. I don't erase a lot. I probably erased 1 or 2 pictures from social media throughout the time I've been on. So it was a time that I was full-fledged American, like in Africa too. Like I went to the World Cup in South Africa in 2010 and had the Landon Donovan jersey, the whole sweatsuit, blue, white, red Nikes, the U.S. flag. At the Algeria match, man, me and my guy H, man, we painted our face, man. And when you it was niggas in South Africa. Look at these niggas. Hey, and that's
like Kid Rock the whole trip.
Yeah. It was really, but I also learned on that trip because the last match against Ghana, and that had a nigga conflicted, right? Because I'm in Africa. Ghana's the last African team. Yeah, and I'm going to the game in red, white, and blue. And my African friends is like, look at what they do to your people. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to cheer for them over us. I'll be in tears and shit. Like, man, I'm really supporting these motherfuckers. But I did. And that's what I was about. And I would wake up every 4th of July, read the Declaration of Independence, and be proud of it. Like, man, my country took on the greatest military power on earth and won. And I was proud of that shit. And so I understand those people. I say that to say I understand those people because I've been there.
Right.
Now,
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to
Sooner
add.
or later, everybody gets that wake-up call. Every black person gets that wake-up call. And it's unfortunate that that's
How many I got?
what
I
it's
do
going to
got
have to
3.
take instead of them just, acknowledging like, hey, this is what it is. This is where we're at with it. And that, that American flag is a symbol of white supremacy. Even getting people to see that is very difficult. They just don't get it. And the other thing is we don't have any example for what I'm trying to do, right? Where historically do we have the descendants of enslaved people living harmoniously in the same land of enslavement with the descendants of the enslavers?
Right.
It does not exist on Earth. So what we're trying to do here is...
It does at the zoo. At the zoo is animals living in the same context of how we're living. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
That's
it. And the closest example we have is South Africa.
Right.
Which was apartheid. Now, what did South Africa do? Change their flag, change their constitution, change their national anthem, and their symbols of their nation.
Right.
So you can't tell me we have the same political parties in power since slavery was blatantly legal.
Right.
We have the same, and this is the difference. Now, private-owned slavery is what ended.
Right.
Under the 13th Amendment.
Right.
Now you can only be made a slave by the state.
Right.
That's what the 13th Amendment did. But the same Democrat and Republican Party were in place before the Civil War. The flag was in place. The national anthem was in place.
Yeah.
The Declaration of Independence were in place.
Right.
And so none of those things have changed, but you want me to believe that there's been significant changes. And there has, to a certain degree, I don't want to, act like we had the same water fountain issues that our grandparents had.
Right.
But I also want to point out that that's not a whole lot. And when you leave this country and you go to the African continent or even Central or South America and see how the world treats you as a black man, you damn near never want to come back because now you've been given the value that you actually deserve for the first time in your life.
I've been telling these niggas for months.
I
think it's time.
He didn't come back.
I think it's time to. I'm saving no coins for no reason, really.
He stayed. He stayed in Europe after World War II. He said, "I'm never going back, man." He deserted and everything.
Yeah, one of my partners on this podcast, his pops was in like the Drifters, I think it was.
Right.
And he's living in London to this day. He's just not about to deal with this no more.
Yeah.
And London ain't the greatest place, but it's not written in their constitution that slavery's legal.
Well, the crazy thing is, feudalism on so many levels, which is what slavery descends from, is a little bit more humane than this white supremacy we face here. Because at least if you earn and get to a certain space,
Commodities in
you can
'97.
get things that you weren't able to get if you come from just a place.
I really feel like
so,
the
once
next.
I want to introduce somebody who,
I gotta wait till I get
you know
this
what I'm saying, one of the
87.
comedic greats here, you know
I
what I'm
can't
saying?
remember if I'm getting a 96
you know what I'm
overall
saying,
pass
comments
or
that
a
came up the way I
97.
came
So
up, you know, man, he paved the way for us. Give it up for Scroncho. Now, Scroncho, if you haven't heard what we've been talking about, is this brother here is a lawyer. I don't know if you remember that case a few months ago where he went to represent one of his clients and they assumed that he was a criminal. In San Bernardino, he ended up getting into it and getting arrested in court because they tried to treat him as if he wasn't a lawyer, basically. They just assumed he was a criminal, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I want to ask you a question. Have you ever been the victim of injustice as a citizen, you know what I'm saying, in this country? Have you ever been treated wrong, or have the police ever done something to you that you felt was unconstitutional?
Hey, man, to be honest, I always tell people I got a problem with safe niggas, right? And what a safe nigga is you can't love your oppressors and love real niggas at the same time. Either you love oppressors and can't stand real niggas, or you love real niggas and can't stand your oppressor. Right. Now, but the safe nigga often hide behind a fake love for black people or the black race. But when they get, and when I say the oppressed, I'm not talking about white people individually. I'm talking about the laws.
Right.
You know, the traditional racism they face, the economic, the systematic racism. When you don't fight for those laws, right, and you give up on those laws, that means white people to sprinkle some favor. Their privileges on you. Now, nigga, you think you special.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So now you safe.
Right.
So you gonna hang out. That's how I come out and tell people all the time. I got homies that a lot of industry buddies that golf. You know what I'm saying? And I love a lot of industry buddies that I love them, but it ain't that I don't trust them. I just don't trust no nigga that play golf. These niggas are safe. They think they special.
Right.
You know, they start because they got sprinkled. Ain't nothing worse than niggas that got sprinkled white privileges. Because I'm gonna tell you something, homie. I come from an era where when I came in the game, I understand my struggle as a real nigga and just as a comedian. Because for years I put my mentality over my gift, right? So I was sick in my way of thinking, meaning like I was fuck the white man, fuck these bitches, fuck these fag gay people, fags, fuck these motherfucking bitch niggas.
Right.
I was like, fuck everything, real nigga or nut, fuck the police.
Right,
You know what I mean? Just to find out it's not the gay people. It's not the white man. It's not the, it's not the, you know what it is? It's the safe niggas. It's the, and I still have a problem with bitch niggas and police, you know what I mean? Because the bitch niggas really are the gatekeepers.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, and they not high, they not scared of our talent. I thought, I'm just scared, they not scared of our talent. They scared we gonna find out who their boyfriend is.
Yeah. I mean,
so my mentality is to answer your question. If you understand being oppressed as a black man, I already came in the world with my character assassinated.
Right.
You know what I mean? So before I even hit, so they seen, so I had handcuffs on me when I was 7. First time I did time, I was 11. You know what I mean? I've been into the traditional system, and just for the record, people don't know this. The shit is going on with George Floyd and his black. We've been going through this.
Oh my God.
So you know what I mean? So this ain't nothing new to me. I'm used to this. And just for the record, you don't have to have a car to get pulled over.
Right.
You know what I mean? And police are really, they hide behind the law to break the law.
Right.
You know what I mean? So whenever they're in a position for the law, they hide behind the law to break the law.
Right.
And then whenever you hear police say, stop resisting, you need to start praying to God because you're probably finna kill you. Because that's all part of court's documents. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're not resisting. That's just part of the game.
Right,
You know what I mean? So as a black man, the color of your skin is not your friend.
Well, look, that's something.
Black and beautiful. I haven't seen it yet.
Right. And that's what I want to go into, because earlier before you came, we talked about I feel like women should have another status added to them. So we have single, we have married, but I feel like prostitute needs to be a status that needs to be established so people can know what they're dealing with. But we also need prostitute, because he said it should be an added thing. We need that added to some of these black folks out here. I need to know if you're a prostitute for the system or if you're somebody that is just.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of these niggas that's hoes to the game and they perpetrating like they one of us.
Yeah.
How can you figure out, if we're talking to younger Scroncho or younger Duncan or younger, any of y'all, how can we tell the younger generation how can you tell if a nigga is a just person or if he's a prostitute to the game?
It's rules. I mean, everything rules. That's the beauty about being. If you fly a flag,
They need to fly a flag.
No, I'm saying if they fly an American flag,
okay.
At the end of the day, the thing about being a real nigga, we really move. We got a lot of biblical principles. We just don't include God. But the rules are a lot the same. It's a lot of Judas niggas out here.
Right.
So it don't take much for me to turn on you.
Right.
It's just a set of rules that I see that you're not going. I say, where that come from?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I don't care how you feel. I don't care what I do care about is how you think about me.
Right.
And what you say to me and let me know what you think about me.
Right.
So if you say something to me also, is that how you think about me?
Right.
You know what I mean? I had a little homie tell me the other day, you need to stop scheming. And that bothered me because I'm like, so every hater thinks hustler's a schemer.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, after we hustle, you know what I mean, and because nobody more creative than a person that can hustle.
Oh, definitely.
And when you a hustler, what we do, we create. And when we create it, then you come a safe ass nigga to take what you created and claim it as his and make all the money.
Right.
And then when you rough drafting it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and even like what he talking about with the laws. This what kills me about this, our culture. We so weak-minded, you know what I mean, that we love looking at the mad at the person that stepped in the trap.
Right.
But we never get mad at the motherfucker that set up the trap.
Okay, let's talk about that right now. So look, I'm gonna have everybody ask Jay a question, right? Because a lot of times when we dealing with the type of people that we deal with, there's things we want to do to them, but we don't know the consequences.
Right.
You feel me? So I'm gonna put out a scenario of how to handle certain things. I'm gonna put a scenario. Each one of give us a scenario, and you tell us the right way to do it, as opposed to the way we want to do it.
Well, the right way or the legal way?
Okay, the legal way.
Oh,
right. Because that's it. Right. So.
It's a difference between right and legal.
Right. When is it okay for me to assault somebody that disrespects me? Like, how can I set up a scenario where I can knock a nigga out and, in the eyes of the court, it be a just action?
Well, it's it would have to be unprotected speech, right? Like fighting words, like "fuck you, you fucking nigger." Like
Good
the
Lord.
court's ruled, like, all right, that's fighting words. Like there's certain things, but if it's just, you know, they're getting under your skin, but they aren't saying those things that would make a reasonable person react with violence.
So a fighting word doesn't have to necessarily be a word that says, "I'm about to attack you." No. It could be
something that they know presses your buttons. And so it's not the same for everybody, right? Because if I know you have this special relationship with your mom who's sick, fighting stage 4 cancer right now, and I'm like, fuck that bitch.
Right.
That's different than, you know, if you mom was on crack, you ain't never knew her, you might tell the next person, fuck that bitch, talking about his mom, and he'd be like, fuck her, I don't know that bitch anyway. So it can be different based on the circumstances and what that person knows. So if they're trying to incite you, you know, you still might have to go to trial to get a jury to agree.
Right.
But that's what the law has stated, is that those kind of things are similar to fighting, and that it's reasonable for you to react that way, because it's, if somebody's saying these things, then they must be, violence must be next.
Right. Anybody else have a question, a law question? Go ahead.
For me, like, I had a situation with a crackhead, like, in December. True story, though, like, true story, you feel what I'm saying? And basically what happened was, bro, the crackhead kept breaking in my sister's car, you dig what I'm saying? I'm going out there.
You trying to mull over and share a car with his sister.
It's all right, man. See how you live, man.
The crackhead recognized his shirt in his car. You was giving him rides to SSI office every morning. That nigga that had a gas money and you beat his ass. Okay, now go ahead and tell the story.
No, so what happened was, I opened my sister's door, and I seen her, you know what I'm saying, in the car. You feel what I'm saying? So what I did was,
the crackhead was in the car.
Yeah, in the car, just like going through my sister's shit.
So you come outside and the crackhead is in your car, you and your sister's car.
Yeah, I'm seeing through the windshield. I'm coming out the house, I'm seeing it through the windshield.
Right.
So what I did was open the door, right? So when I opened the door, she still didn't notice me. I said, "Yo, what up, bitch?"
Chill out.
You know what I mean? It's always in the movies. You know, nigga always swing on a nigga. They always say something famous. So I hit her with one of those. And so when I opened the door, man, I kicked her in her shit, like all in her face and shit, right? You know what I'm saying? She flew on the other side, but that ain't even a kicker, bro. Kicker. But I fucked around and my knee hyperextended.
Yeah, chill out.
So the question to you is, like in that situation. My question to you is, this, bro. Like, if that shit, like, say if that shit didn't happen, I whooped the crackhead ass. You know what I'm saying? Or beat them the fuck up or teased them. Like, what is the best way to handle some shit?
Yeah, it has to be.
Hold on, real quick. You didn't tell him the legs. You skipped over why you don't. You got a knee brace under your jeans, right?
Oh yeah, I did. I said I had to rescind my shit when I did my shit. Yeah, I did it.
When she attacked you and you had to kick her to protect yourself, that's lawful, and that's, I'm sure, what she did, and that's why you kicked her. So
yeah, man.
that's lawful, and you know, with self-defense, a lot of people on the streets, I hear all the time, ain't no self-defense in California. That's not true. California does not have a statute in and of itself that says you can stand your ground. But when reading the jury instruction, it says that the person does not, when the self-defense jury instruction says the person does not have a duty to retreat, they can stand their ground. So that's in California statutes, California jury instructions. So, but it's about the level of force that you use. So if somebody brings deadly force to you, you can defend yourself with deadly force. But they can't bring, a slap and then you come with a rifle, or a pistol. Now, but now it all depends, right? Because if I see Mike Tyson about to punch me, I'll be like, man, that's deadly, my nigga. Yeah, but that's what it is. So, whenever you telling that story, make sure you never leave out the fact that she attacked you and you had to defend yourself, because it is COVID, and who knows when she was out there.
So legally, she'd be responsible for his medical bills.
And there's ways, yeah.
She gonna pay that nigga in dirty blankets.
But
12 baskets and 800 dirty blankets.
I'm telling you, if you spend the money to file a lawsuit against a crackhead stored in your car for money, bro,
I want everything this bitch got, which is nothing. All you gonna get is hepatitis from that bitch. It's gonna be a little vial full of hepatitis.
From a liquor store bag full of bullshit, nigga.
And that's why you have to kick her as opposed to punch her, because your legs are longer than your arms, and you have to keep social distance. I'm with you, bro.
So she fired on you.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Fuck with your
And
knees.
she dazed you a little bit. You seen stars.
You're like,
What was it, a roundhouse? Was it a side? Yeah.
with the disrespect.
Because she was coming at you.
Oh, yeah. Y'all was basically hold on the door. You know when you hold on the door, you see shit on World Star?
You seen Orion's belt when she fired on you. You seen stars.
You know what I mean? He wanted to get up. Like, you better not get out.
I think it's seen the North Star, nigga.
What's that? Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah.
Talking like Wack 100.
So you
Damn, nigga.
so you said what, bitch? She said what? That's exactly why I kicked you, because I didn't want to catch none of that COVID shit.
Did you take a bath after y'all fucked?
Nigga said,
And they
What? I was in an ambulance, no.
He said, did you take a bath after y'all fucked?
He said, fought or fuck?
No, after y'all fought.
Oh, yeah.
Are you smoking in the car?
Fuck this knee up.
Yo, so I got a question I want to ask you. I want to circle back to the situation that happened with you in the courthouse. Do you still have faith in the law, even though we all seen what just happened to you? And I'm guessing you lost. Did you lose the case?
Yeah, I went to trial. I was charged with Penal Code 148A1, which is resisting, delaying, or obstructing a police officer in the lawful performance of their duty. And I was, obviously, it couldn't be resisting, but it was delaying or obstructing. And the DA's argument was that because Deputy Berry was not the bailiff, and because I was so irate, and he was a custody deputy, so he was responsible for taking if somebody gets remanded in court, taking them back, or somebody has court who's in jail, bringing them into court.
Let's go.
Because he had to focus on me for those 3 minutes, even though he wasn't doing anything before that delayed him from doing his job. So that was the delay. So basically, under the theory that, under that logic, if a cop is out doing DUI patrol and they stop you for talking on your phone, now you delayed them from doing DUI patrol. So in addition to getting the cell phone ticket, you're also gonna get a Penal Code 148A1 charge. So the reason that the case is under appeal, and the judge, I understand the law can work. That's probably the best way to answer that. It can work, and I've seen it work. I've seen people get the results that are just and righteous. But if you ask me, San Bernardino court as it relates to Person Lynn or the state versus Jai Person Lynn, that's yet to be determined. We are in the process of doing the appeal, so if that goes in my favor, that'll give me some kind of belief that things can work out on my behalf.
So the optics to me, so outside looking in, right? If you're representing me, let's say it's a criminal defense, right? And you come in, I'm looking at you like, this nigga can't even beat his own case. How are you gonna fucking get me?
Yeah.
What do you say? Because that's a reputation.
Yeah.
In that courthouse. So if I'm the client and I'm sitting here, should I feel I'm already going to jail?
No, you shouldn't, because one, the state isn't as interested in your conviction as they were in mine, right? It took way more than just the police and the DAs to result in a conviction for me. Now that same setup could happen to you, and my trial took place in Rancho Cucamonga. Rancho Cucamonga is about 9% black, and out of the 24 potential jurors, there were 0 black. So there should have been 2 or 3, but it's like 10% Asian. There was like 6, 7 Asians in the jury pool. 0 blacks, and then the rest was like half and half white and Latino. So but to that point, and I understand that point, like, you can't win your case, but understand what I was convicted of, the judge, even though it was 1 count, the judge allowed the prosecution to enumerate 9 different acts. And of those 9 acts, 4 of those acts were
way late.
Who was the named victim of the delay or the obstruction, right? Because if you two are partners, just because I obstruct you doesn't mean I obstruct you. But the fact the judge allowed 4 of those 9 to be on Deputy Sutton, who was the black woman who said I shouldn't have been arrested and shouldn't have been tased, that just gave the jury more to decide on. And they ultimately came back to when I was convicted. If you watch the video, the second time he pushed me, his hand was on my chest, I brought my hand up on his. Now, I know how it looks like I pushed his hand away, but in what I recall happening, I brought my hand up on his to express my displeasure, and he moved his own hand down. I didn't use enough force to even like smack his hand away, and it certainly wasn't a smack. But either way, let's say I did smack his hand away. A judge ruled in a motions hearing before this that I was not seized until I was tased. So if I'm not seized, then he has no authority to touch me. So me removing his hand cannot be a crime if I'm not seized. So that's what I'm hoping the appellate court sees, as well as the fact, like, 1 juror came in the second day, was like, I thought about it last night, man, and I just believe if you don't listen to the cops, you wrong. Period. That's crazy. And then the judge
lawyer needs to listen to the cops.
Yeah. But he was like, this is an Asian person. This is what we have to understand about a lot of the Asian people that come. They come from, like, authoritarian governments.
Right.
Like, in a lot of these Asian countries, it's guilty until proven innocent.
Right.
If the government initiates charges against you.
Right.
So they don't necessarily think that's wrong, and they come over and be like, well, you must have done something. And it's not just Asians, anybody that comes from an authoritarian government.
The gap between what's right and what's actually done or the outcome, that's white supremacy.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? So
don't think that the law is there just to protect you, because it's not. It's subject to interpretation. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's the white supremacy aspect of it. And kind of what he was talking about when people have been sprinkled with the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? That gap is what we face in this country. So don't think that being innocent is enough.
Well, I think what everybody's overlooking, to answer everybody question, I'm not even an attorney, but the reason, here are the facts that the laws is not for black people. It is not for us. It never happened. You got to understand, how many people heard of the racial pyramid of the hierarchy?
As far as like,
well, the racial pyramid, look it up. It's the racial pyramid of the hierarchy. And that's how America classify you as a culture and a race. Right. And at the top of the pyramid is white people. They classify as privileges. At the bottom of the pyramid is all black people. Right. And all in between is what it is. But at the bottom is black people. They classify us as threatening and livestock. So that means that we've never been considered human.
No, no.
So what that means is, remember this, we had leashes on us before dogs.
Right.
We was getting branded before cows.
Right.
So we was never systematically included in the system. And they always looked at us as the carrot shit that's going on.
Right.
Guess what? Emmett Till was the first victim of a Karen bitch.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So they never looked at us as human. That's why when you see people like the lady who seen the people in Oakland and they was barbecuing, in her mind, she seen gorillas barbecuing.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So they never respected us.
Niggas over there cooking banana burgers.
I'm about to say.
They get stripes for that.
Right.
Everybody that get on that police force ain't there for justice. They ain't there to knock a nigga down.
Right.
And they don't get status until they knock a nigga down. They don't feel privilege until they knock a nigga down.
Straight up.
You know what I mean? And while they go to golf course, golfing and shit, every race and culture is in the gym, boxing and training. They just like the police. They can't wait to knock a nigga out. So y'all better
go to the gym. I'm
so
gonna keep it 100, man. What we have is genetics, and a lot of people from other races, they fight that. When you go to the gym, it's a lot of white boys and Latinos getting on swole. That's because they see us, and they trying to even the score to make sure that they can, you know, if it go down with one of us, nigga, that they got something for us. You know what I'm
they
saying?
don't even want to be the sub. They just want to fight us. Because that's the new. See, we as black people, we are the victories. You know what I mean? But for other cultures, just fighting us is a victory.
Right.
I remember when I go to the gym, I fight white boys all the time. You ain't want to box, you want to fight.
Right.
And every time I beat them, maybe on their phone, honey, you ain't gonna believe what happened. Kick my ass and bow to the head and you bow to the butt. Yeah. I got to tell them scrunch.
A white motherfucker give you a nickname fast. Right? Motherfucker call you scrunch in a heartbeat.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just telling y'all, it's a silent war that's going on. And the number one, we always not being.
And I didn't catch it. Like what?
Nigga, we being hunted.
Right.
And until we understand it, there's the highness. Only thing worth more than a nigga is your manhood.
Right.
And the two top.
A nigga's manhood.
And nigga manhood.
But the understand.
We the black man. And
GG's.
But also understand when you're being hunted, a part of being a good hunter is setting traps.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? It ain't just grabbing a rifle and killing something. Like hunters, they set traps. They sit up in trees for hours. They put they put paint on. They camouflage themselves. They get the piss of the female species of whatever they hunting, and they put that scent on them to attract males of that species. Like hunting is a very complex thing. It's not just pick up and kill.
It is a strategy. It's the strategy that they love. You know what I mean? You see every plot and plan. One thing about good and evil that got in common. You know, God plot way up here. You know what I'm saying? Devil was a few steps. You know, back here. You know what I mean? We back here. Nigga with wisdom right here. Right. So everybody, the real hustle started way back here. Right. You know
I don't know who that is, but GG's. Hopefully it's enough for me to get that power up pass. I'm only playing these games to see if I get a 96 or 97. If I get a 97, I get a free Cromartie.
Talk to me, man. What legal question would you have for my
Man. About to just play a solo. Like, I don't understand it. It's because I didn't win either one of them.
Can I whoop on an African bitch I brought from Nigeria if she's not a citizen yet? Can I whoop a bitch without a green card when I'm asking? Yeah, I was sentenced to 1 year probation. That was the only term. I don't have no search conditions, or there's nowhere that I can't go.
That joint said access denied.
Summary probation. Yeah, misdemeanor probation. Man, it was. I'm pissed, no cups in there. I'm just saying, like, they got a turtleneck in the hoodie. That's a turtleneck.
They said access denied, but took me there anyway.
Nah. It took me a few times. You know what? I passed the bar the first time. The second time, I stopped the guy.
I got a scenario. We talked about this before. So, but let's say something happens to one of my sister, cousin, something like that. Her boyfriend, whatever, he puts hands on her. I go to the house to go and talk to him. We end up getting in a fight. I know it's gonna look like, oh, you went over there too. No, I went over there to talk to him, to tell him don't do that shit again. But he ended up saying something crazy, and I'm punching this shit. I can get off on that, right? Like what you just said.
Well, there's a lot of factors in this, right? Because if your sister's loyalty is going to be extremely important.
That's easy.
Because if she testifies, because some of these women be so far gone, it's like, nah, he didn't really hit me, so I don't know why my brother came through tripping. So if your sister's on that kind of time, then it might be tough for you, because now you got two people saying you were the aggressor. Right. But if your sister's telling the whole truth, one, he put his hands on him, now, he put his hands on her. Now that makes him the first aggressor. So you coming over, there's only gonna be three people that can say what was said in that scenario. So if you and your sister's stories line up, you're good. Your sister's a deciding factor.
The premeditation part of me going over there.
Yeah. Hold on, because a lot of motherfuckers out here are stupid, and they think that premeditation is when you sit in a dark room and make noises. Can you please? You drop the mic down. You go in and out so fast. Like, serious? Can you please tell these niggas what premeditated means?
I feel like it's still gonna be close.
To break it down as most simple component, it's that you thought about this before you did it. In a cool and calm, collected mind. Like that can be the difference between murder and manslaughter. Because if you think about it in a state of rage, that's not your cool, calm, collected mind. So it's a crime of passion, and so that would mitigate killing someone that you thought about down from first degree, which is premeditated murder, where you sat in a cool, calm state and you lied and waited and then you killed this person. That's murder in the first degree. Versus, if you walk in and he's fucking your wife and in a fit of rage you kill him, that's manslaughter because you're not premeditated, and it's different. Second degree murder is where you didn't necessarily premeditate or lie in wait, but you killed him unlawfully, and there was nothing to mitigate it down. Right? You shouldn't have done it. He wasn't in a state. He said something you don't like. He was having a bad day.
Are you serious, bro? Still.
You didn't go in planning to kill this person, but you did. So the premeditation is thinking about it, but not just thinking about it prior, and that can happen very quickly. According to Brew, it can be a few minutes before that you decided to do it, and that can get you to first degree murder. But the premeditation is thinking about it in a calm state for the most part.
me ask you a question. Well, how does the
It
law
is a charger here.
decipher if somebody dictates a boundary and says, okay, you're a threat, right? Okay, you're a threat. I view you as a potential threat. Do not come on my
30
property.
XP.
Or, you know what I'm saying, please stay away from me. Or, you know what I'm saying, or you try to avoid a person, you create a boundary, and they cross that boundary, and you defend yourself. How can one who's in a scenario where someone is, you know, always crossing a boundary or putting them in a position that's a compromising position, how do you protect yourself if you're in that position? Because a lot of people live in places where they can't just leave. They grow up in terrible neighborhoods, and it's always a motherfucker crossing a boundary, and sometimes their first step is last resort because they don't really have the option. Motherfucker may not have a car or money to get on the bus and go, or they can't move out and move somewhere else. Their financial situation won't allow them to be able to properly protect themselves. So if someone is in a situation that could potentially be dangerous, how do they set a boundary? How do they get the law to recognize that boundary to show that they tried? And how do they position themselves where if they have to do something violent, they can get the most optimal outcome?
Yeah, well, it's all about the reasonableness of the act and the honesty of your belief. So, complete self-defense or defense of others is a complete defense to a crime. So, if you're charged with murder, and you're like, man, I had to kill him because of self-defense, and the jury believes you, that's a complete defense. Imperfect
Now, what do I
self-defense
get? Please let me be right.
honest belief, but it's unreasonable. So, in that scenario, you know this dude a killer. You know that he done killed some people. And now you told him
I gotta
stay
get
away
another
and he's
one.
coming in your yard. Now you just shoot him. You got an honest belief that you had to because you thought he was going to
Is the
kill
power
you.
past
But it's kind of
88 and I'm just dumb?
You know, that's it. I mean, he could have been walking up to tell you like, man, your sister just passed out at the grocery store up the street. I'm just letting you know. So it's about where reasonableness.
I'm about to just get a 91 and 92. I'm mad behind on these.
When it's unreasonable, but it's an honest belief, you have imperfect self-defense. And when you have neither, then you have no.
That's powerful. Quick question: how do you feel about snitches? Do you ever approach the snitches for the prosecution when they get on the witness stand? Do you ever ask them, how do you feel snitching? Is that
funny?
It would be
how do you feel being a rat ass? Yeah, I like to strike that.
Oh, we get that. We don't get to 97 until level 90.
Well, it would be more so about getting them to identify what their code of ethics is.
Okay.
And explaining that they are violating their own code of ethics, and then arguing to a jury that anyone that would violate their own code of ethics cannot be trusted.
Right.
And so that's how we would go about. But if you, it's tough because it's.
I don't know why I'm acting cheap.
The line between snitch and witness is a fine line. Like if you aren't, and the way gang members have explained it to me, once you cross that line into gang membership, then you can't be a witness for no criminal activity.
You can never be a witness for the prosecution, period.
I
wouldn't be a witness for nobody because, you know what I mean?
And I get it. That's when
somebody I love, right? Mm-hmm. I still wouldn't
take them right in front of you unjustly. You still wouldn't take the step.
Because you know why? There's no such thing as justice as a black man. So now all of a sudden I'm gonna buy into justice when you know what I mean? When
now the police, your friend, they gonna be.
What about in the civil suit? Niggas don't never talk about this. What about in the civil suit? It's $3 million on the line. All you gotta do in a civil suit is say, that nigga is the nigga that blah blah blah.
I'd rather try to rob a nigga than to tell him to do it.
All right, what about this on a nigga to get the $3 million? But all right, what about this scenario? You know, you did a movie, you were promised a certain percentage of the I forget what they call it, but of the profits of the movie, right? The residuals. They didn't give it to you. But now you sue them and you're not gonna take the stand and say I was promised to get these residuals?
Well, here's my rules. Might be a little gangster, you know.
What if Martin Scorsese gets you?
I would say this: make your walk-away game strong, and make your sneak-up game stronger. And I can get way more from you, you know, on a sneak-up than I can in court. You know what I mean? Because
by the time you went to court in a civil suit, you done tried. You done talked to them. You done sent them a letter. You done had a mediation. You done did all of that. They still like, fuck you, nigga. I ain't giving you this money. And these residuals are supposed to be about $2 million because the movie did well.
I would never turn to the system to help me. I'd rather die.
I'm gonna go get that $2 million.
So the movie did well. They went for me. I was the star.
Fuck that. So, I grew up in gang culture. I ain't never been no gang member ever. But I'm probably the only one in my family that, you know what I'm saying, ain't with that. You know what I'm saying? But I was raised by hogs. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? So, what if you sue a nigga? Because pressing charges is one thing, but suing a nigga is different. Yeah. I let the homie use $100 grand to buy a house. The homie died. Now his wife don't want to pay. Everybody living in the house that I put the $100 grand in on is equity in the house. Okay, by the law, I can sue if I can prove that I put the $100 grand on this, put some type of lien on the crib, and get my money back. So when we're talking about finances, because we live in white supremacy is one element of capitalism, right? Yeah. Capitalism is a completely different monster than just, you know what I'm saying, what happens with the whole black and white thing, you know what I'm saying? So I can't even sue the homie to get my bread back. I gotta leave that to the streets. I can't just be like, nigga, you know what I'm saying?
You'll save a lot of money. Just burn the motherfucker.
Good Lord.
Girls though, every police officer watching this right now is like, oh, we can beat his ass. He ain't gonna say shit. We gonna fuck Squelcher up. He ain't gonna say nothing. Yeah. I'm with it, man. But in my opinion, I understand because I was raised by them ethics. But man,